brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. Put the time in while you always yelling time out. And for quit it, cause I know I'm coming with it. You were sitting, you were wishing I was handling my business. Now I got the ball like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. And my business is humongous, you would think that happens in there. Damn man, I'm all that, yeah, I'm all that.
Hello and welcome to the 2024 Giro Montagna. It's day 3 of the Gateway Cup. Currently, the Category 2-3 riders are out racing. We'll have our Cat Pro 1-2 women coming up at 4:20 this afternoon, 4:10 this afternoon. They'll be racing for the final stage of the American Criterium Cup. It's an 8-race series. It's the final race in the series. For the men and the women, today will be the final day. Currently, our women's leader is Skylar Schneider, followed by Riley McMullen, and third place is Paula Munoz. All three will be here this afternoon, so we'll be looking for them. Skylar won Friday night at stage 1. Marleis Martinez Garcia won stage 2 yesterday, so we'll see who's out there tonight racing. Riley McMullen has not won one of the stages yet of the American Criterium Cup, so we'll look for her to be out there sprinting, going for the win tonight. 6 o'clock this afternoon, at 5:40 this afternoon, the men's pro race will start, and we'll be out there with the pro men. The pro men right now currently have a rainstorm domination going on with Jordan Parr as the leader of that series. Alfredo Rodriguez is sitting in second place, and Danny Summerhill, all of Rainstorm, sitting first, second, and third overall. Close on their heels, though, is Clever Martinez from Rockland Development Team. He'll be out there trying to get a stage win today, the final day of the American Criterium Cup. What you see on the screen now are the Cat 2-3 races we got going on. We got the Cat leader out there. It's got about a 20-second gap on the rest of the field.
How's exposure looking on my camera, John? Sure. Okay, cool.
But the field is responding. They are pulling hard.
Callum Maxwell. Yeah.
Headwind here in the start finish, which means that is a fast tailwind on the backside. Going to make it difficult for a rider to get away. Might slow the speed of the sprint and make the time even more essential than normal. It's a unified team effort. Get someone off the front or bring a team back. Hey, if you're hanging out watching the race, remember our pro women are coming up next. After that, the kids race. They're going to pro men. Hey, we're going to get a shirt. Giro Della Montagna shirt. We have merchandise for sale right across from our announcement stage, right in the expo area. Head on over there and get you a fantastic looking brand new designs for 2024 for the Giro Della Montagna. They're 2 3 now make their way down, and one rider is away, but he's still away. Cheer on, look at this. Trying to stay away as he's all the energy he can get, but here comes the chase. That chase being led right there. That's going to be Parker Holden doing a fantastic job bringing him back. Burn on the leader. Isaac Baden just hanging out in the back swing. I'm waiting to see what happens later in the race. We got 11 laps to go.
So what you've been seeing is the Category 2-3 race. It's a nice preview of what you'll be seeing later on this afternoon when we start with the Pro Women's race today at 4:10, followed up later this evening at 5:40 by the Pro Men's race. So please come back at 4:05 and we'll get the lineup for the Women's Pro race and get into the action.
Are they going to go on the course, Mimi? Are they going to... They're just going to walk it in. They're going to walk it in. They're going to walk it.
As a boy, Davis Phinney watched a race that became the beginning of a dream.
Sometimes it seems incredibly tough. Only with a team, you don't even think about quitting.
Here are some familiar pictures. Davis Phinney, arms thrust skyward in victory.
When I was first diagnosed with Parkinson's, I had had a relatively flourishing TV career following up on the heels of a good pro bike racing career. I was really starting to notice a decline in my physical capacity and my mental acuity for my job. And then, of course, with Parkinson's, the most overt symptoms start coming, and I started to get this shaky hand. As I started to research into Parkinson's, and I looked at my age, and I realized that, you know, there's no cure at the moment for this disease, and I'm only going to get worse. And, you know, things down the line could look pretty grim for me, for a guy who's just survived on being healthy and being physically fit and active and productive. It's difficult when you're first diagnosed because, you know, your primary instinct is to not want to show any signs of the disease overtly. Your friends probably notice more than you think, and yet they're afraid to ask. Telling your kids is a complex issue, or it was for us.
I was really young when my dad was first diagnosed. I was 5 years old.
My dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's when I was 10 or 11.
In my case, I used the Parkinson's diagnosis as an excuse to spend more time with my kids. I think originally they viewed it as not such a bad thing, but everyone is different, and it depends on your kid's age.
Our whole family is really close because of it. But I mean, it wasn't easy. I mean, it's hard being a little kid with a dad that has noticeable physical symptoms. All of the little things matter, and it's okay to get scared or be frustrated with the disease, whether you have it or if you have a family member who has it. But ultimately, you know, my dad is still my dad.
It's hard to think about Parkinson's as something that you're overcoming because it is, you know, the stemming of decline, but there is that day-to-day sense of overcoming this disease and being happy and living a fulfilling life.
Winning with Parkinson's, to me, means having more good moments throughout any single day than bad moments. Whether that's being able to get out for a bike ride or a hike or even just a walk, or else having a good meal or enjoying time with your family and friends. These are all elements that if you really pay attention to them, they can magnify your sense of well-being versus minimizing it, which is what the disease will do if you focus on that. Living with Parkinson's takes a certain amount of courage. Living well takes a little bit more. And because you have to not be afraid to step outside your comfort zone, even within the confines of the disease, you can regain and reclaim some of your function, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there. If you let it, the disease will come in like a cloud, but the key is to look past the cloud and look for good elements in your day. Exercise is part of the plan, but it's not the whole plan. There's introspection and mindfulness which come into play. Mindfulness meaning paying attention to what's happening right here, right now, and enjoying that aspect, looking for the positive instead of the negative. I find it's not so hard to exercise per se once you're actively doing it. I'm an advocate of taking down barriers for exercise. If you have to wear some special clothes or go to a gym or do something
that you feel is like a psychological barrier, then take that barrier down. Just exercise in the clothes that you have on. As a lifelong athlete, I'm used to getting over the hump of bad days and forcing myself to get out because I know it's good for me in the long run. And my goals are entirely different now from when I was a competitive cyclist. But that doesn't mean it's less important. It's actually more important now for me to exercise and maintain my vitality and my physical function and my good attitude and my morale. It's in those days where you just don't really feel up for doing anything that you got to remind yourself, well, this is going to maybe make today better, but it'll for sure make tomorrow better. Here's what I know about Parkinson's disease, is that you cannot afford to be passive in your approach. And that's applicable whether we're talking about dealing with your own day-to-day management or your interaction with your healthcare provider. As I'm fond of saying, this is a tremor-safe zone. Do not feel self-conscious in this room with our people, all of us around. Do not walk out of here without a good idea of at least one thing you can take ownership of and stick with. And that alone will start to make a difference in your health and in your life.
Open the dialogue and be a little more free with your conversations and keep the optimism. Because as far as I know, this is our one shot at this beautiful life. And you know, we all are in it together to make it the best possible life. And that's the challenge, just making every day great.
Servus, ich heiße Florian Kupplend und bin Mitgründer und Braumeister der Urban Chestnut Brewing Company. Unseren ersten Sud brauten wir Anfang 2010 in einer umgebauten historischen Autowerkstatt in St. Louis. Seitdem ist unsere Brauerei auf 4 Standorte angewachsen. 3 in St. Louis und einen in meiner oberbayerischen Heimat. Bei UCBC wenden wir eine einzigartige Brauphilosophie an, die wir Beer Divergency nennen. Es ist eine Kombination von Tradition und Moderne. Wir brauen klassische deutsche, englische, belgische und tschechische Biersorten, aber auch moderne, innovative Craftbiere. Zwickel unfiltriertes Helles, Schnickelfritz Weißbier, Stalipa India Pale Ale, Stammtischpils, Dorfbier Dunkel, Urban Underdog American Lager und einige andere Biere gehören schon seit Anfang an zu unserem Portfolio. Wir arbeiten aber ständig an neuen Kreationen, die wir dann in regelmäßigen Abständen auf den Markt bringen. Viele dieser Testbiere können Sie unserer Versuchsbrauerei URB schon während ihrer Entwicklung verkosten und uns dazu Ihre Kommentare hinterlassen. Ich hoffe, dass Sie das eine oder andere Urban Chestnut Bier finden werden, das Ihnen schmeckt. Prost!
Cyclist fans, again, we're in front of Piazza Emo. We're down on the legendary hill. This is a must-see if you're down here for this weekend's event. Remember again, it starts Sunday on the hill. So come on in to Piazza Emo. This fountain is truly awesome. The Frisella family, one of the founders of the Piazza. So many Italian families have come together to make this such a great place to reflect, to pray, and we all need that special time. And this is the ultimate place to make it happen. The Riviano family, properly displayed. Via con Dio. What an unbelievable display of affection. As we come down to the left here, something really special to the family, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. This is where we come as the Bommarito family to celebrate the life of Frank Bommarito. a legacy that is never to be forgotten. Beloved husband, father, and grandfather. But check out the quote below. The best thing you can do for someone in life is give them a job. And we are so proud of our 1,000 team members at the Bommarito Automotive Group. And we are so proud of all their families that we can allow them to have a first-class livelihood and working for a group that is so affectionate about their people, because we know that people make the difference. Make sure you check out any Bommarito location. And again, make sure you check out the Piazza and come by and say a special tribute to my dad, our CEO and founder. We love you, Pop. And we'll see you guys at the race.
Jordan Anderson here for Volpe Foods. For 122 years and 4 generations, Volpe's been producing award-winning, handcrafted, artisan-cured meats. Every product is made using passed-down family recipes. No artificial ingredients, 100% natural, and no shortcuts ever. Volpe's great for snacks, subs, and sausage for the grill. Get Volpe for authentic salami and prosciutto products available in supermarkets and convenience stores nationwide. America's premium protein, VolpeFoods.com.
In the 1980s and 90s, Davis Phinney proved that American cyclists could win in Europe and in the United States. He celebrated 328 victories in his career, more than any other American. Today, Davis is living with Parkinson's disease, and he's still winning every day. The Davis Phinney Foundation helps people with Parkinson's live well today. In the battle against Parkinson's, every victory counts. Learn more at davisphinneyfoundation.org.
I'm Santino Ferrucci, driver of the 14 Bommarito Chevrolet with AJ Foyt Racing. The ultimate pre-owned car buying experience is at Bommarito. Explore 13 locations, thousands of certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs with warranties up to 100,000 miles. You'll find the perfect vehicle in every price range, ready right now. Bommarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group, West County, South County, St. Peters, and Hazelwood. Open 24/7 at bommarito.com.
Jordan Anderson here for Volpe, driver number 32 Volpe Chevrolet Camaro. Elevate your next charcuterie board for the big race in Talladega with Volpe, America's premium protein. Look for Volpe products at your local supermarket and convenience store.
Hey everybody, it's John Bommarito, and where are we today? We're at St. Louis's #1 choice for all your Audi automotive needs. We're at Bommarito Audi in West County, and we're talking about something super fabulous today, the Gateway Cup. It's a huge cycling event where we team up with Big Shark Bicycle Company. And Big Shark, as you know, is one of the #1 choices for all your cycling needs. You need a bike, you want to go down to Big Shark. You need a car, you want to come to Bommarito. So how does a Gateway Cup work? 4 different neighborhoods, 4 different starts. Lafayette Square on Friday, Francis Park on Saturday, the Fabulous Hill on Sunday, and then we finish up Monday in Florissant. We are at the infamous hill right now. You can see the legendary backdrop of the St. Ambrose Church. Over to my left here is Piazza Imo. This is the 3rd stop on this year's Gateway Cup. Make sure you come by Sunday. We'll be at the Fabulous Hill. There'll be all kinds of awesome restaurants down here. The Italian community welcomes this Gateway Cup. Hundreds of racers from all over the world will be here. Olympians, you name it, everybody's gonna be here. Check out these beautiful vehicles right here. Right behind me, the pace car. Audi R8, fabulous automobile. The chase car, the RS Q8, phenomenal SUV. And then over here, the S5, properly displayed down on the hill this weekend. Big Shark, Bommarito Automotive Group, we're bringing you the Gateway Cup this year, 2024.
I support the Davis Phinney Foundation because of Lorraine being an ambassador. Feel if I can't support my wife, who else would I support? And she's part of DPF.
Thank you, Jay. I like to support DPF because of its excellent resources. The fact that we help people with Parkinson's live well today, and I think that extends to the persons who live with them, care for them, love them. And I think that especially for 2021, I'm very excited about the ways that we can bring new programs, and so much of it is virtual now, that DPF is really working hard to serve their community.
It's the truly dynamic thing to do. I mean, this is where the action's happening. This is where the good positivity happens. And it's where we could see our efforts really resulting in things.
Yeah, Davis Phinney is the organization that most exemplifies the idea of helping people with Parkinson's live better now. And we're all for that.
Oh, we love the Davis Phinney Foundation. They were like a light in the middle of a long, dark tunnel, because we were sorting out in the first year or so when we first met Davis and Connie and the crew in Boulder. And it was
life-changing.
Life-changing. It was just so much support and hope. And so much information, because we were lost puppies trying to figure out what all was going on. So it was just great.
It's not something you can learn from books. It's like the experience of being with people who have Parkinson's. Everything's just so helpful. And I wouldn't be doing as well as I am if it weren't for Davis Phinney.
I supported the Davis Phinney Foundation for a number of years now, and big reason is it meets the need that's most prevalent to people with Parkinson's. In other words, how do we live better today? So you find out you have Parkinson's, and someday you expect and hope there may be some kind of cure or some kind of action that'll help mitigate it. But what do you do in all those years in between? Well, that's when you look to the Davis Phinney Foundation for information on how to live better today, right now, with Parkinson's, and for a long time.
Because it helps people learn to live well, people with Parkinson's, and because it really has a way of not just supporting people with Parkinson's, but also creating a village of support around everybody. And we just love everybody involved, and we love sharing this message with other people.
And the Davis Phinney Foundation has changed our lives since we were diagnosed with Parkinson's. And because of that, we want to help share that same change, positive change, to others.
Every victory counts. Every victory counts.
Every victory counts.
Every victory counts.
Every victory counts.
You'll be happy too when you shop your way at Bommarito. In-store or online, new or pre-owned. On every vehicle, ready right now. Even delivered. Bommarito.com. It's okay to dance. We get that every day. This is John Bommarito for the Bommarito Automotive Group. You want to know how we've sold over 1 million vehicles? It's simple. One car at a time. We make sure that every customer has a better experience at Bommarito. That means a better price, a better selection, better financing, warranties and service, plus more for your trade. Every day, every customer, every vehicle. That's how you sell over 1 million vehicles since 1971. Bommarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group. Open 24/7 at bommarito.com.
Hey, it's Santino Frucci, driver of the 14 Bommarito Chevrolet with AJ Foyt Racing. Ready to sell your vehicle? At Bommarito, you're the one calling the shots. Just give us the lowdown on your ride, get an offer, and cash in. No haggling, no hassle, just pure speed. Sell your car today at Bommarito. Swing by any Bommarito location in West County, South County, St. Peters, and Hazelwood, or zoom over to bommarito.com. Open 24/7. See you at the track.
You can live well with Parkinson's today.
You can live well with Parkinson's today.
Quality of life matters.
Quality of life matters.
There is so much that you can do.
The Every Victory Counts manual has more information for yourself as a Parkinson's patient, for any care partners, being a parent or a spouse
It's got information for children. It's got information on how to take the disease step by step. So it's not frightening.
It goes from, basically a Parkinson 101 to a review of what is Parkinson, what are the symptoms, what causes it, what is the process for diagnosis, through stories about people who live with Parkinson's now. But it also contains very practical tools, such as worksheets. If you're going to visit your doctor, here are the questions to ask yourself and to ask the doctor when you have a visit, so that conversation with the doctor is much more productive.
This is the Bible for people with Parkinson's. I mean, it's just an incredible resource. It's so inspirational. That's what people really need to see. It's not, they don't want the downer part of it. They want to be inspired.
There is so much that you can do.
There's so much that you can do.
Every victory counts.
Hello, welcome to day number 3 of the Gateway Cup. We're at the Giro Della Montagna, and we're at the final stage of the American Criterium Cup. It's for the pro men and the pro women. Our pro women's race will be starting at about 4:10 this afternoon. I'm Andrew Fry. I'm here with Ben Sharp.
Thanks, Andrew. Excited to be here. Looking forward to this this final event of the season-long ACC series.
Yeah, so we've got the women's race is up first today, and then that'll be followed up by the men's race. In our lead of our women's race overall, we have Skylar Schneider, followed by Riley McMullen, and Paula Munoz is sitting in 3rd place overall at this point in the overall series. Another thing you'll see out there today is you'll see a sprint points midway through the series, or midway through the race today. There'll be a 1-lap sprint, and the leader of that series is also Skylar Schneider, with a 1-point lead over Riley McMullen. So whoever wins that sprint today will be the ACC sprint leader for the whole series.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that middle sprint. I think that's going to be hotly contested because, as you said, whoever finishes ahead between Skylar and Riley will take the lead in that competition. And 3rd place is kind of up for grabs because as the series has progressed over the summer, the points totals increase, the number of points available for each sprint, and the way that the points have shaken out, if someone who's not in the top 2 were to win the mid-race sprint, that would move them up into a podium spot in that season-long sprint competition.
Yeah, we're going to go to a recap video that we've got from the series that we can watch for right now.
The
2023 American Criterium Cup season drew to a close at the Giro Della Montagna, parts of the Bommarito Audi Gateway Cup in St. Louis, Missouri. It's a fast 1-mile course with 42 feet of climbing per lap in the historic Italian Hill neighborhood.
The Giro Della Montagna has been going on for 38 years. It is the second oldest race in the United States.
We are in for a battle right here at the Giro Della Montagna, presented by Fitz's Root Beer. Riders are going to be starting on the whistle. On your mark. Come on the hill and make some noise. It's going to be the final bow lap for the ACC, and it's right here. 1, 2, and 3. Marlies Mejias wins on day number 3 and picks up the maximum ACC points. He won in Salt Lake City. He was your winner right here on this exact race course in 2022. Your current leader in the American Crit Cup. Also your sprint leader, riding for ACG, Danny Summerhill. Officials are ready. St. Louis, are you guys ready to be able to send these guys off? We're here at the hill to be able to make some noise. We're going to count you down. You're going to be starting on the whistle in 3, 2, 1. Danny Summerhill can respond to it all. He can jump away. He can have the speed to be able to win the sprint. And he would love to be a back-to-back winner here at the hill. One lap to go, one to go. That's your leader, sneaking up on the inside. Almost didn't see him. Summerhill now responding, trying to be able to go after him. Here's our sprint right now. It's the red jersey. He's got the blue helmet. Summerhill, you won last year. It's back to back for Danny Summerhill. Noah Granigan in second.
I know. I had to fucking prove something from last weekend.
After being relegated last race for jumping a curb, Danny Summerhill of American Cycling wrapped up both his overall and sprint competition ACC titles by outsprinting NCA riders and the rest for a commanding win on the famed course.
Give me a round of applause, your winner, Danny Summerhill, wrapping up the final race of the ACC.
And listen to the call-ups live.
Coming
from
up
the
to that
stage.
line, she was your winner here. Sprint leader. Guess what? Only 1 point back in the sprint competition. This next rider comes out of New Zealand, sitting second overall as well in the ACC, riding for DNA, Riley McMullen.
We've got a 3-time Olympian, 3rd overall in ACC, riding for Goldman Sachs, Paula Munoz.
Riding for Virginia Blue Ridge 2024. She was your winner right here on the hill in 2022 and 2023. Coming off a big win yesterday. Please welcome the rider from Cuba, Marlies Mejias.
And one of my favorites, 3rd overall Gateway right now, 2nd and 3rd place here, riding for Legion, Alexis Magner. Can she bring the speed of her sister down the hill and get the win for herself?
currently sitting sixth in our Bommarito Audi West County Gateway Cup standings. Multi-time national champion from Australia. Please welcome Live Racing, Peter Mullins.
And we have our winner of the Junior ACC Overall from Cincinnati, Ohio, Brooklyn Raiden.
Rest of the riders to the line.
This weekend has been a showcase of junior riders. Brooklyn is bringing the intensity, bringing the overall win of ACC. Let's see her do it again here in the pro women's race.
Pro women, you're going to be riding for 70 minutes. You already heard the warning. Do not go against the barriers by the pit on the inside of the course. There is a hole there. Be careful of that. 50 minutes of race, 70 minutes of racing. Free laps are over, 5 laps to go, 5 laps to go. Your neutral service pit is behind you. Your podium will take place after the men's as we are celebrating the American Criterium Cup. 8 cities. This is our final day of the American Criterium Cup as we're waiting for final confirmation to be able to send you off. And a big thank you to our representatives up here from Bommarito Audi West County. Without their support, this event would not be able to take place. Thumbs up. Hey, the hill, are you guys ready for the pro women? We're getting ready for the fastest riders around the nation. Riders are going to be going on the whistle. It's race number 8 of the ACC and day number 3 of the Bommarito Audi West County Gateway Cup. We are away.
Okay, thank you, Frankie and Brad, for doing those call-ups for us. As you can see, we just started the women's race. During that lineup there, you saw the leaders of the series. You had Skylar Schneider in first, Riley McMullen in third, Paula Munoz in Riley McMullen in second, Paula Munoz in third. So overall, they're racing for the final day of the ACC race today. Like you said earlier, there'll be a midway preem sprint. Yeah, so what do you think about this course here, Ben? You've been here, you've raced on it a number of times. What do you think of this course compared to the other courses during the Gateway Cup?
I think that each day the courses get a little bit more challenging. On Friday and Saturday, we had some pretty straightforward four-corner, square, more or less, courses with a little bit of elevation. Today is in the Hill neighborhood of St. Louis, an old Italian neighborhood and pretty iconic in the U.S. racing scene. And it is on a hill. You can see the riders are now on the back straight, and they're starting to make their way up the steeper part of the incline. The other feature of this course relative to what we've seen already this week is it's a little bit narrower. As they get over the top of the hill, the short straight between turns 3 and 4 is a little bit tight, and then it's a fairly tight corner, turn 4, with a pretty fast downhill into a flat sprint. I did race earlier today, and I noticed that there was a little bit of a headwind coming down the hill. So it's not quite as much an all-speed sprint as maybe it has been in other years, unless the course conditions change, of course. But this is definitely an exciting course. Awesome community support. You can see in the video that there are fans around the majority of the course. There's a really good party up at turn 3. So it's an exciting venue for these riders for sure.
Yeah, so with the wind coming a little bit up the home straight today, it's not necessarily the first out of the corner is going to win it like it maybe would be in traditional years, just because there's no time to pass in the sprint because it is so fast.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of times when you have a downhill sprint, it's advantageous to kind of lead it out because everyone gets up to the same maximum speed and it's really hard to overtake. Today, though, the wind is coming a little bit headwind and a little bit off the rider's left shoulder, so you might see riders passing on the right side down that home straight.
Yeah, and what you see on the front here is you see Sam Schneider. She's got a red jersey on. Skylar Schneider's got the red leader's jersey on. They're teammates. They're sisters. Looks like Sam will be leading Skylar around today, looking for a final win in the final stage to match up with her overall lead going into the final day of the American Criterium Cup.
Yeah, the Schneider sisters are phenomenal. They communicate without talking. They're very well aware of what each other is doing, probably without even seeing.
You know, another interesting combo in here, they're not a combo on the same team, but they are a combo by blood, is the Munoz. It's not a sister team, it's a mother-daughter team. And I saw the other night that the night number one, the 17-year-old daughter got one up on the on her mom.
Yeah, I'm sure that Paula was probably that was probably a bittersweet moment for her. I'm sure that she was thrilled to have her daughter play so well, but maybe a little bit upset about her own placing.
Yeah. So now we have over on the right side of the screen there, you have LA Sweat. In the middle, you got DNA, and then on the left, you've got Virginia Blue Ridge, kind of lining it up, looking at their teams. There's no real points or anything coming up until halfway through the race. So what do you think these riders are doing right now, just riding as a team on the front in these three lines?
I think that they are putting themselves in positions that they trust. I know that, you know, Marlise Mejias and Sofia Areola, I kind of consider them to be sisters from another mother. They are very in tune with each other. They know exactly what each other's going to do. They make a very dynamic duo. And I know that Sophia and vice versa, Marlise, trust each other's wheels implicitly. And I think at this point, the riders that, you know, we might consider the favorites for the race are just putting themselves in a position that's kind of safe. Like I mentioned before, there are some tight features to this course. There's a little bit of technicality to it that we haven't seen earlier this week. And just want to make sure that the stronger riders are near the front and just try and stay out of trouble. You know, the further back you are, the higher risk you are for getting yourself into a situation that might not be, you know, the most desirable.
Yeah, prior to this race, we were watching a little bit of just this stream that was going on in this 2-3s race, and in the last 3 laps, I saw a big slide out in the final corner with 3 laps to go, puts them out of the race. But yeah, trusting your riders that are around you is a big deal in criterium racing.
Absolutely. You know, this course was repaved before last year's race. It used to be a much rougher surface. And I think that, you know, the repaving obviously makes it much smoother, which is beneficial, but it also makes it much faster. And I can say from the races that I did this morning that there's a slippery element to it. Turns 1 and 2 definitely have some slipperiness to the surface, and you have to stay aware of where you are and making sure that you're cornering your bike safely.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the overall individual leaders of Skylar Schneider, Riley McMullen, and Paula Munoz. Well, we also have a team competition that's going on over these 8 races of this series. And what it is the top 3 riders from each race, top 3 riders on each team are scored for the team overall. And currently in the women's overall, we have DNA Pro Cycling with 142 points. Close on their heels, Miami Blazers in second, and Goldman EFT Racing sitting in third. So it's been exciting to see these teams. They've been dedicated to the series. They've been at all the races. They're looking to win the overall series.
Yeah, it makes for a little bit of interesting racing because, you know, the individual result looks like it's pretty well wrapped up. But some of these teams are going to be thinking about their team competition and encouraging their maybe second or third rider, instead of going all out to go for a win in the individual series or in the individual stage, to make sure that the second and third rider also go for a result to try and pad those points for the team competition.
Yeah, so perhaps if you're leading out today, pedal all the way to the line. Don't watch your teammate win the race. It's great to watch your teammate, but those 2 or 3 points may make a big difference in the overall.
That's exactly right.
On the left here, we have Kingdom Elite. They're a new team out of Florida this year. They've done about half of the ACC races this summer, but they've been very aggressive while they're doing it. And we've got an attack going from Legion of LA off the front right now.
Yeah, and you can see Sophia Areola from Virginia Blue Ridge welding that right back up, making sure that no one gets any gap, just to try and protect Marlise in this situation.
Yeah, and Marlise won it handily yesterday over Skylar Schneider. So her sprint legs were coming on, and she got second the first night. She won last night, so her legs are coming on a little bit as the series is going on.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's worth pointing out that we do have two series going on here. We have the ACC, which is the season-long series, and then this Giro Della Montagna is the third stage of the Gateway Cup. The Gateway Cup is a 4-day series. Tomorrow we race in Florissant. And so, you know, some riders are thinking about the overall for the Gateway Cup in addition to the ACC series. So you've got a race within a race within a race today.
Yeah, you're making a good point there. So, yeah, ACC races, there's only one in each of the series. We've gone to 8 different venues throughout the country this year, but there are only one race throughout that series. So we started off at Tulsa Tough. Day number 1 of Tulsa Tough was the ACC race. We followed that up with Tour of America's Dairyland, where we were day 10 of that series deep before we got to our AACC. And then we also raced in Littleton, Colorado, Salt Lake City, Boise, Idaho. We were in Indianapolis. So we've been all over the country, and now we're coming down to our last day.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting finale to the series, for sure. One rider I'd like to point out from Virginia Blue Ridge, we see Emily Ehrlich kind of hanging out near the front. She had a pretty horrific crash at Tour of the Gila this year, broke some bones, but was able to come back, rebuild a little bit, and she actually went to Paris with the Women's Team Pursuit program. Unfortunately, she was there kind of as a secondary alternate, but she did contribute to the team's success in preparation for their gold medal ride at the Paris Games.
Yeah, I think people don't really, you know, they see the 4 who are getting the medal, but it's almost like a football team where you have the practice squad. You have to have those backup riders. So, she was there as the backup rider, but she was there through the training throughout the whole process getting to the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. I actually ran into her on the way over here this afternoon, and she did mention to me that she's throwing her name in the hat for an opportunity to ride the World Championships in Copenhagen later this fall.
Nice, nice. So you'll see on the front there, well, we got an Austin Aviator rider on the front right now, but the Miami Blazers are incognito because you have Skylar in the race leader's jersey, and now we also have Alexi Ramirez in a white jersey, and that is her national champion jersey. She's the national champion of Trinidad and Tobago. So she is wearing a white jersey that represents being the national champion.
Sometimes that can get a little bit confusing, but when you spend a season racing against the same riders, you know, and sometimes they're leading a series or they're a national champion, you still, you know, you learn the riders' sort of style, and you're able to pick them out regardless of what shirt they happen to be wearing on a particular day.
Yeah. So Skylar, we're talking about Skylar. She's been Miss Consistency. She's been on the podium every race of this series. So I think that she's definitely looking for another podium today. Do you have any outsiders, Ben, that you'd be looking at that maybe hasn't done many of the races in the series, or just, you know, might throw us off and like, hey, I'm just going to go for it and win this race today?
Yeah, I think there are a couple. You know, anything can happen. I would be a little bit surprised if this weren't a field sprint and it were a little bit predictable with the riders that have established themselves as some of the top over the whole series. But there are a couple riders that I think might surprise some people. Emily Ehrlich might be one of them. If she's given a little bit of freedom to ride today, my hunch is that her responsibility is going to be to help weld things together to give Marlies the best opportunity to win for Virginia Blue Ridge. But there are a couple other riders that will probably, you know, have a go. One is Jennifer Wheeler from Fount Racing. She's actually a rider manager from Fount, and she's the reigning Masters national champion in the Criterium, and she's not afraid to, you know, really take it to the field, as well as maybe Shannon Koch from Kingdom Elite. She's a similar type rider, very aggressive, is much more suited to being off the front than trying to mix it up in a field sprint.
Yeah, we saw that Fount rider just on the front there, trying to, you know, lighten up the field a little bit, putting forth a little bit of effort, see what was going to go on, but nothing really came of it. So they're just kind of resting to see until the next rider will attack here.
I think another rider worth mentioning is probably Lauren Stevens. She's a very aggressive rider. We haven't seen much of her in the last 2 days, but I think that this is a course that suits her abilities a lot more. And I hope that the Siniska rider is able to mix it up off the front and kind of bring some dynamics to the event and maybe be a little bit of a wild card.
Yeah, so it is interesting because we got the 4-day Gateway Cup that they're racing for points for, and then we have the ACC that we're racing for. Do you think it's possible that any of the higher up ACC riders will just kind of let something go because they know they have the ACC wrapped up, or do you think the overall of the Gateway Cup kind of outweighs that for today?
I think the riders that have been following the ACC points are most invested in the ACC result. And sometimes, you bring up a really good point. There's an opportunity if a few riders get up the road that are not in the hunt for ACC success or in the overall for the ACC, they can kind of eat points and take the opportunity for other riders to earn some points away. It looks like we have Maria Lindsay on the front, Maria Larkin on the front from Chicago Cutting Crew. She's an interesting story. She's actually lives in Chicago, in the Midwest, but is of Irish descent. And she was the first woman to represent Ireland at the Cyclocross World Championships, which she's done twice. She's a 3-time Irish national champion in cyclocross. And I know that she's just trying to find some race legs here before the cyclocross season begins for her next week.
Yeah, there's 2 UCI races in Wisconsin next week, so she's probably coming on the form for that.
Yeah, I think she's just kind of testing her legs a little bit and trying to get a little bit of speed work in before she starts her cyclocross season.
Yeah. So it's been a long season. These ladies have been going at it all season long. What kind of training do you think they're doing at this point? Are they just maintaining, or are they actually out putting in the work, doing the training, even though there's 1 or 2 races left in the season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's highly individual. It depends on where each rider is with their own form and fitness. If everything has gone to plan for the entire duration of the season, I would say that for the most part, they're kind of in a race and recover mode. But there are plenty of things that interrupt a race season, like injury or illness, or being pulled away because of other travel responsibilities or other racing responsibilities. And so some riders are probably on the upswing, and some other riders are just kind of hoping to get their way through this sort of last event of the season.
Looks like we're all just still hanging out together. We've had these little attacks that have gone off. Nothing has really materialized by it. But if you look, you can still see groups or clumps of the same team lining up together. We got a LA Sweat on the front, followed by Peta Mullins, which adds to our international field. Peta Mullins out of Australia. And she's racing here alone. She's definitely knows how to race alone. She's crafty. She knows how to put herself into position, follow other leadouts. So watch her racing at the front today. She can go in the breakaway. She can go in the field sprint.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Peta that close to the front. As I mentioned, the previous 2 days here at the Gateway Cup have been pretty straightforward, 4-corner, square, relatively flat criteriums with no real technical aspect to them. And I did happen to notice that Peta was able to tailgun a lot of those races and just kind of sit at the back, conserve her energy, and put all her energy into the finish of the race. But I think that she recognizes the technical aspect of this course and is making sure that she is attentive to what's going on at the front of the race, because the nature of this course is such that this could be a breakaway opportunity.
Yeah, I was watching yesterday, and the sprinters who were up there at the end, I saw at the back with 3 laps to go.
That's exactly right.
It was a course where you could make one move through a corner and gain 30 spots, and you're all the way back up to the front. Looks like right now we have Work Hard, Be Humble on the front, just taking those pools, trying to mix it up a little bit, string out the field. Maybe we'll look for one of their teammates to attack or come over the top of them.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, they're just trying to stay out of trouble, stay near the front. Yeah, that Work Hard, Be Humble team is out of the Southeast. They have a rider on their team who actually was in a very long solo breakaway in this race last year, Ruth Allen, who is an expat from Great Britain, who has a rowing background, very strong athlete, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if she tried to make a similar move today.
So criterium racing is an interesting form of bike racing. It's not what we watch when we watch the Tour de France. It's not, 6-hour races. These are short and intense. What are some, you just mentioned a rower, what are some other sports that translate well into criterium racing in particular?
I think that, really any sort of short kind of explosive sports, as you mentioned, rowing is a big one. Oftentimes swimmers. I do know of a few athletes that have come from Nordic skiing that have had success at this level. So it's really, the athletes are still very similar to their genetic makeup, and their physiology is still pretty similar to what you see from Tour de France type athletes.
Yeah, so you had mentioned Lauren Stevens earlier looking for an opportunity on this course. That's who is on the front right now. She's here by herself. She's getting this little gap going, but look at right on her wheel is Skylar Schneider. Can't see who's right behind Skylar, but then Riley McMullen right behind her.
Yeah, Skylar sensing the danger there. That's Sophia Ariola in third wheel. And I think that these riders all recognize Lauren's strength and want to make sure that if she's going to go up the road, that she's got some passengers with her.
Yeah, it's like the three top sprinters in the race right on her wheel. So they're not just sprinters. They know how to sniff it out, whether it be in a breakaway, be in the sprint. They know what they're doing. They know what to look for. We mentioned that other sports that translate. We actually have an Olympic gold medalist in this race. She's not a gold medalist from cycling, but she's a speed skating gold medalist riding for the Goldman Sachs ETF racing team out of Canada. We have Ivani Blondin racing.
Yeah, I think that speed skating is one that I did forget to mention. That's especially true in the upper Midwest of the U.S. We have plenty of athletes that have represented the U.S. at the international level that came from speed skating. Obviously Eric Heiden was a prolific speed skater and went on to have a successful road racing professional career.
Yeah, Connie Carpenter as well.
Yeah, I've heard of her too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see the back of the field here. There are some gaps opening up, and this is what I was mentioning earlier. Riders are trying and stay in front of. The pace went high for about half a lap with Lauren's move there near the front, and the riders in the back are sort of paying for bad positioning and having to close up some of that real estate.
Right, you can feel very comfortable, and you look and you see somebody in front of you, but what you don't see is 4 riders in front of you, and then it's a 20-meter gap between that they have opened up. You got to go past the 3 riders in front of you, and then that 20-meter gap.
That's
while
exactly
the field
right.
is still going fast.
Yeah. Here we see Emily Ehrlich from Virginia Blue Ridge on the front, just kind of keeping the pace high. She's confident that Marlise and Sophia are in good position and maybe take a little bit of advantage of the work that Lauren did earlier to try to stretch this field out a little bit and cause a little sting and put a little sting into the legs of some of the competitors that might be challenging her teammates for the win today.
Yeah, I mean, having watched Emily race in the past, I feel like she could just do this for the next 40 minutes.
And here we have another attack from Lauren Stevens. Good move. Is that Lauren?
Yeah, I think she's just going to keep going, try to stretch the elastic over and over again, and eventually it's going to break.
You can see that Sophia Ariola from Virginia Blue Ridge is right on top of that. She smelled it immediately. I do see a rider I mentioned earlier, Shannon Koch from Kingdom Elite, kind of lurking in the background there. And this might be a good opportunity for a rider like her to take advantage of the work that Lauren has done to see if she can capitalize on it.
Yeah, and you see, I've seen Legions up there as well, like the Yarly Salazar's up there. She's been covering them. Lauren Rathren's up there right now. So they're watching out. I think that their sprinter today, though, is it's probably, their sprinter today is probably going to be Magner. Will be sprinting for them today. Her sister's not here, so I think that she's the lead sprinter for that team.
You can see as soon as the pace relents, Emily Ehrlich goes right back to the front for Virginia Blue Ridge and just sets the pace.
Yeah, followed Sam Schneider sitting right on her wheel, watching it, looking out for it, watching, make sure that everything's staying together for her sister, her sprinter, to be ready at the end of the race. Coming up at the halfway point, we're going to have that sprint that we were talking about. So maybe we'll watch to see what's going to happen in that sprint. It looks like it'll be coming down to Skylar Schneider and Riley McMullen for the overall of that. But the way that the points have gone in the series is it grows each week. So the first day in Tulsa, it was 3-2-1 for the points, a halfway point. Today, we're up to 10, 9, and 8 for those sprints. So it's been tight at the top, but third place through 10th place has been wide open. So if a rider was to win today and not score any other points the rest of the year, they cannot move all the way up to third place. So we'll look to see what happens in that sprint today. There's also money on the line for those midway sprints too. So it looks like Emily's just sitting there, keeping it all together for her team.
Yeah, and this is pretty good evidence that she's not going to be going on to the attack today. Her job, apparently, is just to keep the pace high, keep her teammates safe, and it's up to them to put themselves in a good position, and she's just going to drive on the front, try and eat some time into the race, and prevent some other riders from attacking to protect her own sprint riders.
Emily's setting that pace pretty high on the front end, and then you got a bubble, and then you got these riders at the back. They're chasing to get on. They're just at the back going, "Come on, Emily, just sit up for a second. I want to get back on. Give me a chance to recover."
Yeah, we call that the accordion effect or the Constantina effect, where as you enter into a corner, the front of the race slows down just a little bit, and the riders behind have to decelerate. And it's actually almost an exponential deceleration. And then as they exit the corner, the front riders accelerate, and the rear riders have to accelerate even more to make up for the acceleration that's happening on the front. And over time, those riders in the back, maybe they're not quite as fit or fast or healthy right now, and they end up paying for those efforts. So I think that on a challenging course like this, it would not be uncommon to see, especially in the second half of the race, every lap maybe one or two riders come off the back because the challenge of riding at the back has overtaken them and they just aren't able to stay with it anymore.
Yeah, we see DNA up here. They look like they're probably starting to set it up. They're almost working like Emily Eric was, where they want to keep it together. They want to give Riley a chance to go for the full 10 points in that midway sprint that's going to be coming up in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, we haven't seen many of the DNA riders in these first 25 minutes or whatever of the race, but now it looks like they're organizing a little bit. They have something to gain, as we mentioned, in the sprint competition. Because as we said, first and second is really tight, and they have Riley McMullen sitting in second in the sprint competition. So between she and Skylar, whoever wins this mid-race sprint will be the sprint winner of the ACC. But then there's also an opportunity for one of their other riders to potentially take third in the ACC sprint competition.
Yeah, and speaking of DNA, so this is their last Criterium Series that they're doing as a team. It's a 10-year-plus team that they've been together. They're disbanding at the end of this year. So to win a jersey on their last race will be quite memorable for these riders.
I'm sure they're very motivated. Yeah, it's a real, it's a disappointment that the team is stopping. I think it means that there's going to be a flush of talent available for signings for next year as the team disbands. But I think it's been an awesome run from the Kim family and from the sponsors, DNA.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that a team is disbanding, but they did it the right way. They let their riders know early in the season, hey, it's coming to an end this year. Just to give them a fair warning, as opposed to waiting until October and November when teams are already picked up all the riders they're going to have for next year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that they've always had the riders' intentions in mind, their best intentions. And they've done a great job of supporting these women over the last several years, decade plus. And I think that they want to give them every opportunity to land on their feet for next year and sign some new contracts.
So as soon as it lulls here, I think we're going to see Emily coming back to the front. You see her coming up on that right side there. Once it gets under that specific mile per hour that she's looking at, it looks like she's just going to come to the front and and go back to her job.
Yeah, and you see Lauren Stevens moving up on the right side. You see a work hard, be humble rider on the right. I can see Jennifer Wheeler kind of from Fount lurking in the background there. And on Emily's wheel is Sophia now, also from Virginia Blue Ridge. So I'm sorry, that's Marlise Mejias on her wheel, setting up. So we've got 3 of the Virginia Blue Ridge riders together there on the right side of the road.
And Marlise has that sprint that she could be that rider who comes in and gets 3rd place overall in that sprint competition on the last day.
Yeah, absolutely. As of now, she has not scored in any of the mid-race sprint points through the series. But as we mentioned, there are enough points on offer that if she were to win that mid-race sprint, she would move herself onto a podium spot for the sprint competition.
I think that Virginia Blue Ridge is a team that, where we were talking earlier about teams scoring as many points as they can, they're a team that's looking to move up in the overall as well. So they can move up a couple spots in the overall just with, a solid team effort today.
Yeah, that's right. They're currently ranked 8th in the team competition. I'm not sure that this is something that they have been, overly concerned with for the series. Marlise is a race winner. That's really all she's thinking about, is being first across the line. And she knows that if she finishes first, that she's going to place well in the series.
Right. As an individual, and that'll move her team up.
That's right. I think we saw Paula Munoz coming in from the wheel pit. She must have had some sort of mechanical.
Well, it looked like she was in there with a teammate. So the riders like to ride by their teammates, but I'm wondering if a mishap might happen between the 2 teammates.
Yeah, riders are allowed a free lap for a mechanical or some sort of crash, a mishap. They're allowed to go to what we call the wheel pit, and they can fix whatever's wrong with their bike and sit out for, up to a lap or 2, depending on the severity of the situation, without being penalized. And that service is available until the riders see 5 laps to go in the race.
Is it advantageous for these riders to take a free lap? It sounds like, let's take a free lap and I get to rest for a lap, but
it seems like it would be, but I would say that it's actually not. Sometimes when you have a crash and you take a free lap, you get a big adrenaline charge, and so I guess in some way that would be advantageous, but for the most part, you leave the rhythm of the race. There's a good chance that when you're thrown back into the race, you're not thrown into the same position where you were, so you might be further back and have to work your way up. So I think that generally speaking, despite how it may seem from the outside, it's not necessarily advantageous.
Yeah. So the riders know that we're getting close to that halfway point. So the bell will be ringing either this lap or the next lap for that halfway point sprint. And then once we see that sprint, we'll get the results out to you.
Yeah, it looks like, if I were to guess, I would say they're going to get the bell this lap. We're about 32 minutes in, 70-minute race, 35 minutes should be about halfway. We'll see what the starter official decides here this time.
Yeah, we don't see our sprinters up there yet. We don't see Skylar up there. We don't see Riley McMullen up there. But this is a sprint that they could come from 10 riders back for this one individual sprint. Not everybody's going to be going for it. It's easier to sprint for a preem sprint than it is for a final sprint.
That's right. We do see a couple Legion riders there. I see Laura Rathbun there on Emily's wheel, just patrolling the front, making sure that the team is represented. Looks like a Fount rider moving up on rider's right, TV left. From our view, we can see that the riders have basically slowed their pace quite a bit. They're curb to curb with a couple of riders attacking off the front. Might be a work hard, be humble rider. It's hard to tell. They're going up just over the top of the hill.
Yeah,
we have an LA Sweat rider.
And a Kingdom Elite. So
Kingdom Elite, yeah.
These might be the surprise riders who come out, sprint for this Supreme Sprint.
Looks like that might be Monica Merced from LA Sweat. And I have to say, in the 2 days preceding today, especially yesterday at St. Francis Park, LA Sweat raced very aggressively. They sent a lot of riders off the front, just trying to disrupt the sprinters' flow a little bit.
Yeah, I would imagine that. I'm surprised that DNA isn't at the front. They are at the front, but they might have let that gap go a little bit too far. But you can see them on the front chasing this down because they don't want to let these 3 riders get away and snag those points.
That's right. With Riley being just 1 point behind Skylar in the sprint competition, she wants to take every opportunity to put some, well, to have the highest points available so that she can overtake Skylar from the Miami Blazers in the sprint competition.
Right. Whoever wins between the two of them, if they both score in the points, whoever wins between the two of them, it'll be a tie. But the tiebreaker for the series is whoever placed highest in the last sprint. So whoever places higher, if Riley beats her by a spot, they're tied. But the tiebreaker, Riley would be going into the lead. So we have 2 off the front right now. That'll take the first and second place points.
It does look like DNA have organized a little bit. They have one rider on the front there trying to bring it back. But these 2 riders look fully committed, at least to get the mid-race point sprint.
Yes. Kingdom Elite has been aggressive all weekend. Last night, 2 of them went away 5 laps to go, and they got a $500. They went away 6 laps to go, got a $200 premium. The bell rang the next lap for a $500 premium. The 2 of them stayed away together. Same team, but they were racing aggressively. They earned that $700 in premium money.
That's right. It is a case where aggression is rewarded. But here we see Emily Ehrlich coming over the top with a lot of speed. That's into turn 3 at the top of the hill. She's still going. Maybe she's sensing that she could pick up those mid-race sprint points and move herself onto the sprint podium.
Yeah, and I see Skylar sitting about 6th wheel, and right in front of her is Riley McMullen. So should be a good sprint out of this corner here. We got those 3 that are going to lead into the corner. Riley's closing the gap, though. That's just a free lead out right there for Skylar. And as we see right there, Skylar's popping over. Sprint. And first place goes to Skylar Schneider, second place to Riley McMullen, and a Goldman Sachs rider in 3rd place. So Skylar Schneider not wearing the green jersey today, but at the end of the day will be awarded with that green sprinter's jersey.
It looks like she's keeping her foot on the gas here. She's continued with the pace that she got from the sprint, and probably just seeing what happens here. It's not unheard of, even though Skylar's a very good sprinter. She's not afraid to stick her nose in the wind a little bit and race aggressively and see if other riders will come with her. Even in a breakaway group, she's going to generally be one of the faster finishers.
Yeah, last year she was in a road race, the Pan American champion. So she's not just a criterium rider. To do a 4-hour road race, you're not just doing those 60-minute high-intense efforts. She's an all-around rider, and you can see it right now as she's breaking away.
Oh, that's true. She definitely has road racing pedigree. She spent her time racing in Europe at the World Tour level. So, this is not an unprecedented situation for her.
Yeah, so it looks like she's drawing some riders out. She's got an automatic racer trying to come across. And
Sophia's there.
And Sophia there, yeah. So Sophia, I think, is welding it together.
That's right, yeah. And by welding it together, we just mean like making sure that the group kind of stays together. And she's doing that to keep Marlies in contention for the finish of the race. And Lauren Stevens there near the front. Wouldn't surprise me at all if she had another go here. A breakaway type rider likes to take advantage of those situations when things have been hard. And here we go. Lauren putting her foot on the gas down the hill to see if she can draw some people out and get a little bit of space between herself and the rest of the field. She's probably not the best sprinter in the group. That's not her strength necessarily, especially a downhill sprint. But she's a nice, aggressive rider that will benefit from a really hard race where she can take the sting out of the legs of some of those sprint-type riders. And looks like we have another rider attacking on rider's left.
It's a Legion rider.
Looks like Laurel Rathbun. And you can see Sophia trying to weld it back together. She's so tiny on a bike.
Yeah, I don't think that Sam Schneider was getting much of a draft off of her.
No, I don't think so. Her nose is on her stem.
But you see the teams represented up there. You got Legion, you've got the Blazers, you've got Kingdom Elite, you've got Virginia Blue Ridge. At some point, do they say, hey, let's just let it go. Let's let our teammates who have been working for us all year, race for the win today?
I think that's definitely possible, especially with the ACC more or less wrapped up. Now, your question earlier, may have some influence here about how important or how much they're putting into the Gateway Cup series. But here we see another Kingdom Elite rider. This is Shannon Koch going off the front, seeing if she can draw some riders out. She's a strong breakaway rider and is someone who will take advantage of the riders that did have to put out some energy for that sprint. She's coming up the hill, getting close to turn 3. And you can see that the group is single file. Everyone's just trying to get as much draft as they can.
Yeah, that's Ariel Verheeren from Automatics chasing her down. She's a BMX rider. She's a former BMX rider. So she's a fast sprinter, but she's also, it looks like she's looking, just racing at the front, not letting anything sneak away from her.
She looks quite comfortable. Now we have Emily Ehrlich giving another dig here. And Shannon Koch, who is just kind of attacking on that back straight, is now in the front. So there's a good chance that the field is slowing down a little bit. And Emily is getting a little bit of daylight on this downhill.
I don't think if I were to those ladies, I'd want to give her more than 5 seconds. She's got the ability just to sneak away, to pursuit away from them. She's a team pursuiter. She's got that ability. She wins time trials all over the country in the stage races that she does.
That's right. That's right. She's won the Redlands Classic. She's a very well-rounded, strong athlete. I wouldn't want to give her an inch.
Yeah, so she was brought back. It looks like there might be a little reprieve here for a second. Let these riders on the back catch their breath. But as I say that, Kingdom Elite attacking.
Another nice aggressive move by Kingdom Elite with Legion marking it.
And we talked about the race growing on the riders, so getting a little bit harder. You're losing 1 or 2 riders per lap at the end here. It's getting to the point of the race, too, where you might have 1 or 2 riders sneak away because it's not just the back of the field that's hurting a little bit. Maybe it's just these riders on the front of the field are hurting a little bit, so the ones who get the gap can sneak away.
Absolutely. There's cumulative fatigue here. This is day 3 of the series. We're at the end of day 3 of the Gateway Cup series. We're at the end of a long summer of racing, a long summer series or season. And, motivation might be a little low. It's hot out there. And as this race progresses, I think you're going to see that fatigue definitely becomes a factor here. The hill wears on you. You've got several meters of elevation every lap. You can see here that the riders are having to push pretty hard to get over the top of the hill. And you can see there's not a lot of reaction from the peloton behind. They're basically spread out wide. That means that the pace has come out of the field a little bit. And these 2 riders are being given a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, we've seen the Kingdom rider on the front the entire time. Let's see what happens when she pulls over, see what the reaction is from the Legion rider. Can she give just as much of a pull, or is she kind of sitting on right now?
Yeah, that's a good question because she might just be sitting on to protect Alexis a little bit here and try to discourage this breakaway situation. It doesn't look like she's too eager to come through.
No, and they're going down a hill right now, so now would be the time to pull on the downhill and Yeah, and she does not seem to be coming around here.
And that'll be a frustrating situation for the Kingdom rider for sure. Nothing like a rider sitting on you to take the wind out of your sails. Now it looks like she's getting a little bit of help.
She's getting a little bit of help. We got a fount rider trying to come across to the two of them. And she was given a little bit of a leash. At what point is it too many women get a little bit of leash, group gets too big off the front, or everyone's like, oh, if they can make it across, I can make it across too?
Yeah, it's a really fine line, and without having been able to sit in on the team tactics meetings for each of these teams, it's hard to know what the objectives are for each of these teams. I would say that, as a general rule, in teams that I've been a part of, if there are 5 or more riders up the road, then alarm bells start to ring, and you're not represented, then alarm bells start to ring. But again, as we mentioned before, we have this race within a race, and we have this ACC series, and there are some teams that, maybe aren't afraid to let some of the points go up the road as an act of defense to protect their leads.
Yeah, the gap it's maintaining or growing.
Looks like it's growing a little bit. I'm not sure that the fount rider is necessarily going to come across. She's kind of stuck in what we would call no woman's land in between. So hopefully, for her sake, she can close that gap pretty quickly and start to contribute to the pace of these two breakaway riders.
Yeah, and I'd say our two larger teams that we have in the race that are not represented there is DNA and the Blazers. So at what point do they start their lead out? At what point does the lead out start and the chase kind of mix and bring this back?
It's a good question. There could be a little bit of a game of chicken going on between those two teams where their leaders are looking at each other and making the call themselves not to put anyone on the front with the hopes that the other team might start to contribute to the chase and wear themselves out a little bit for that lead out. I would say on this course, you can see the pace start to ratchet up with about 3 to go. But like I mentioned before, it is a dynamic course with lots of changes in speed, and it's a hard venue or a hard course to really control the field on, because you do have these uphill, downhill sections with some narrow straightaways.
Yeah. So then, if we get this game of chicken going on, does that benefit Virginia Blue Ridge with only 3 riders that Marlena can sit in and wait?
I don't know that it necessarily does benefit them, because then they're looked at to do some of the work. So I think, and it kind of looks like Emily Ehrlich might be on the front of the peloton again, trying to weld this back together.
Yeah, but you can only do that so many times. So a counterattack out of this might be the one that could get away.
That's what I would be thinking. If I were one of the Blazers riders or DNA, I might be thinking about how to exploit, this exposure by Virginia Blue Ridge and Kingdom Elite and Legion. They will have all spent a little bit of energy, and this might be an opportunity to, again, go for that counterattack. Looks like they've extended their lead a little bit. By my count, it was about 15 seconds there.
Yeah, the camera angle's deceiving because you can see the riders in the back, but they're blurry back there. That gives you some distance. We got a rider attacking up the left side of the road there and not gaining super fast on them, so the gap's not 3 or 4 seconds. You know that it is a bigger gap.
That's right. And I believe that might be Sophia Areola.
It does look like when we were talking about the draft that she does not give to other riders. Not many get that low.
Now we're at the top of the hill into turn 3, and looks like the Virginia Blue Ridge rider has made contact.
Wow.
And that is Sophia, but the field is right there. So alarm bells went off when they saw Sophia making that move.
Yeah, so we might see a little law and then start to reconsider the field sprint and look at starting the lead outs calm before the storm. But now would be a good time to counterattack.
And here we see another Kingdom Elite rider winding it up a little bit. Sophia putting some pace into the front.
And if you look, it's Kingdom Elite and Legion again.
That's right. Capitalizing off the move of their other riders. See Shannon Koch, you see Laura Rathburn there on the front.
And I think that was Michaela McPherson from DNA, who would be the quickest sprinter out of those three.
I had the pleasure of working with Michaela McPherson in the Olympic Development Program, and I can tell you that she is a tenacious rider. She is a racer. I don't believe that's her on the front, but she's probably lurking in the background there, and we may not see her until the last 200 or 300 meters. I think the riders here are feeling the accelerations from the last couple laps, the chase of the Kingdom Elite and Legion riders. And, you know, as you mentioned, this might be a good time for an attack, but it also seems like, you know, each team has their own sprinter that they're trying to protect here.
Yeah, you go. So Sophia's going up the left side, and Lauren Stevens going up the right side. Lauren's got that little bit of a gap, though. And it looks like it's a Goldman Sachs rider on her wheel. We haven't seen Goldman that much in the race today, but now we are.
This is a really grippy part of the course. You think you're at the top, and then you still have to go through this corner up here, and then you go through the narrow, short straight. This is really the most challenging part of the course, and Lauren is taking advantage of that and really just stretching out the field here.
Yeah, and Lauren's a bike racer. She's not a crit rider. She's not a road racer. She's a bike racer. She's probably doing gravel nationals next week. She's all over the place. She just loves racing her bike.
That's right. We see her in podiums across all disciplines.
But it doesn't look like anybody wants to pull through, or doesn't want to, or isn't able to pull through with her.
And I think the fact that we don't really, here's another Goldman Sachs rider on rider's left, taking advantage of the downhill and carrying some momentum as she coasted into the peloton. Laura Rathburn standing up to accelerate to bring that back.
So on this course, with the rolling nature of the course, where is the best place, do you feel, to attack on this course? Or like if the field is lolling like that, is it attack on the uphill or attack on the downhill?
I think that you might get varying opinions on that, but mine would probably be to, the course isn't so hard that you can't take advantage of it. In other words, attacking on the hardest part of the course is probably where you're going to eke out the biggest advantage. The speed differential is highest if you're able to attack over the top of the hill. On the downhill, for the most part, everyone's going to be going, the same speed or close to the same speed. If the peloton really wants to chase someone down, they can have an advantage on the downhill as they carry some momentum. But for the most part, on this course, I would say these last couple hundred meters before turn 3, right about where the riders are now, is a great place to hit it hard at the front.
So when you get to the Italian flag crosswalk,
that's right.
Hit it there. Yeah, this is a great thing about this neighborhood. Is it's a very ethnically proud Italian neighborhood. We know bike racing is an Italian sport, so it's great.
I think that I have heard that this is one of 2 permanent finish lines in the United States. So the finish line that you see, down the straightaway is there year-round. It looks like we have Jennifer Wheeler having a go here on the front. Rider I mentioned earlier, she's the reigning Masters national champion in the Criterium. Very strong time trialist, pursuit type rider.
And do you know how she won the Masters Championship? Was it in a sprint or was it off the front?
It was in a breakaway, and the field was mixed, so there were a couple different age groups in the race, and she actually was in a 2-person breakaway with Shannon Koch, who was representing a different age group. So the two of them had everything to gain by working well together to get off the front.
Maybe we'll see Shannon attacking across her. Well, Shannon's teammates.
She's got another Kingdom Elite rider there.
Yeah, I think that some of these riders, if they're not doing the whole circuit, they're not doing the whole series, might not be as well known. But Shannon's saying, hey, look at her when she goes. I rode nationals with her. I know who she is. She's a strong rider. She can go pool for pool. Watch out for her. She's one of these unknown riders that could sneak away.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, these riders, you know, while Jennifer is not a regular contributor to the national, you know, scene all the time, she is well known. She's a very strong rider. She came to the sport pretty late. She is also the rider manager of this Fount program, which has done an amazing job of recruiting some talent. And you can see here that they're extending their lead.
Yeah, I don't think any team wants to commit yet to the lead out. We still have 6 laps to go. It's a mile-long course, dynamic course. If you start to lead out now, you might come up two laps short, and then you're behind the 8 ball. Your sprinter is left out there by themselves. So it's tricky. It's like start the lead out, close it down, or wait till the end, do a faster lead out for the last 3 laps.
Yeah, that's right. And then we have to mention the race within a race again. Neither of these riders are in the hunt for the overall individually for the ACC. So those teams that are, you know, trying to score ACC points aren't necessarily concerned about these 2 riders. You can see they've extended their lead out just a little bit more. Looked like Jennifer might have been struggling just a little bit over the top of that hill. But wow, they've got quite a gap now.
Yeah, and Kingdom is one of those teams that can make a big jump up in the overall series. They're 7th place right now at 46 points, but they're 4 points out of 4th place. So they're a team that can make a big jump just by a big result today.
This is quite a gap. By my count, it's about 20 seconds.
20 seconds with 6 laps to go.
I think if I were one of these 2 riders, I'd be a bit more comfortable with more like 40 seconds at this point, because once the teams that are protecting the sprinters and are going to lead out the sprinters really put their riders on the front, they will be able to close this gap very quickly. So, you know, the more time that they have, the better. But you can see there's no concerted chase here. A couple riders just kind of on the front. There are a couple Kingdom Elite riders that are, you know, what we would call blocking the front, just trying to take position at the front but slow things down a little bit to protect their rider here off the front.
Yeah, I think if you do the math on it, these ladies got this 20-second gap in a lap and a half. That means that the chasers could probably do the same thing in the last 3 laps.
That's true. Yep. I think this might be a little bit of a nail biter. This is an exciting finish here. And you can see that the riders are just now starting to appear in the back of the image here.
Yeah, and at the earlier race in the ACC series at Tour of America's Dairyland, Kim Stovald from Automatic Racing did this move. She stuck away with 6 laps to go. There was weather that day, and it was rainy, but she snuck away with 6 laps to go, and there was a pause, there was a hesitation, and she stayed away till the end.
Sometimes that's all it takes. And like you said, you know, because these riders aren't necessarily competing in every national level event, they may not be as well known, they may not know their specific strengths. Looks like the Kingdom rider here, Kingdom Elite rider, wants to put a little bit more pace into this group. Over the top, like I said, this is sort of the hardest part of the course. They're making turn 4 here, and then we'll start the descent down to the finish. Looks like the Kingdom Elite riders put a little bit of a gap on the Fount rider.
So that's another tricky thing that can come about. If you look up and you catch one of the riders, if the riders were to separate, and you catch one of the riders, you think you have it all brought back, and you forget about that other rider.
Yeah, that happens quite often, especially with a bigger breakaway with multiple riders that might, you know, get dropped in the closing minutes, closing laps of a race. But with just 2 riders here, I'm not sure what's going to happen here. This is pretty compelling.
Yeah, I mean, start-finish line to the final. They're just out of the final corner as the leaders are coming through the start-finish line.
And you can see here, there's not a lot of pace in the peloton. There's a lot of freewheeling happening. Like I said, I think this might be a game of chicken here, where the stronger teams are looking at each other to do some work, and no one's willing to commit.
Right, you said at 3 laps to go is where you feel like a good lead out could start. So we're going to be coming across. Next time through, it's going to be looking at 3 laps to go, but it's wide across the road for the field. Somebody needs to commit. One of these teams need to commit.
Here we are in the short straight. Oh no, they're on the back straight now. I love seeing this aggression. You know, Kingdom Elite has been a well-represented team. It found one of the smaller teams, kind of consider themselves more a development program. And it's exciting to see the Kingdom Elite rider, Rebecca Lang, and the Fount rider, Jennifer Wheeler, taking it to some of these bigger teams. I mean, this is a great opportunity for some of these smaller programs to, kind of show their ability, their strength, versus some of these more established, bigger teams.
Yeah, so we see 4 laps to go on the screen. They have 3 more times up the hill. They've got almost a long straightaway on the field. Definitely going to be out of sight on the shorter straightaways, but let's see how it comes next time when we're at the top of the hill, look in the background, see if we can see any teams starting to lead it out. If they don't do it in the next lap or 2, these ladies will sneak away for the win.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that might be tempting for them is to play a little bit of cat and mouse as they're thinking about the finish. You can see it here. Jennifer's not quite ready to commit to coming through. And that will take a lot of pace out of this group of 2.
Yeah. I think, though, if you were talking before the race, if you said, Jennifer, you can get second in this race, you just have to pull to the end. Do you take that? Or do you think, oh, man, now I'm in the situation I can win it? I don't know. It's tricky. So same gap as it was last time. They're going through the start-finish line as the field is coming out of that last corner with 3 laps to go.
It does look like there's a little bit more pace in the field. You can see it's kind of strung out. I wouldn't say exactly single file, except maybe at the very front. There it is, single file. But again, no team is organized. You see 1 or 2 riders from various teams that are represented in the front 10.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
Yeah, all in a row. Each team represented in the first 5.
Virginia Blue Ridge on the front, but then it's followed by DNA. We don't have 3 or 4 DNA riders on the front there.
I don't think that Jennifer Wheeler here is necessarily trying to game the finish here. I think that she is a little bit on the limit and just happy to be off the front. My hunch is that when she can pull through, she will. We'll see. Sometimes you're in this situation and you just have to have ice running through your veins to just go all in for the win. But like I said, she's shaking her head there.
Yeah, Rachel's asking her for some help, asking her to come through.
This is a tough situation for the Kingdom Elite rider because, on the one hand, she wants to commit all in for the finish here, but she doesn't want to give another rider a free ride all the way to the finish, and this might be the nail in the coffin for this breakaway. We'll see how it develops here over the next lap and a half.
Yeah, it looks like we have some action jumping off the front of the field, maybe with a little bit of a gap by a rider, but then the field is starting to line up behind that rider who's got that little gap.
Yeah, the pace has definitely come out of these 2. I would not be surprised at all if the Kingdom Elite rider, Rebecca Lang, took this as an opportunity to maybe create some distance between herself and Jennifer and just go all in for the finish.
Yeah, she was asking for Jennifer to come through, get that last little bit of help, and then jump her.
Yeah, the gap has come down significantly. You can see the lead moto for the peloton has just come through. And I'd say that, well, we have one rider looks like might be trying to come across, maybe a Virginia Blue Ridge rider.
Yeah, it looks like that with the white helmets and the blue jerseys.
And then the whole field is definitely attentive to that move.
Yeah, we got DNA starting to line it up behind that. We'll see when they come through the start-finish line here. Definitely not out of the last corner when they're coming through the start-finish line this time.
No, it looks like it's maybe a 7-second gap or so.
Yeah, DNA has a rider on the front there, followed by Emily Ehrlich.
Maybe more like 13 seconds, but not quite enough, I don't think. Unless they can just commit all in.
Yeah, that's Andrea Sear, actually, that's in that gap in between there. It's Andrea Sear from Goldman Sachs. We thought that maybe it was Virginia Blue Ridge, very similar kits. You know, she either gets away or everybody else has to chase her down. That sets up her sprinter. If you don't have the best lead out, the best way to lead out a teammate when you're not a good lead out team is to send somebody up the road to make the other teams chase you down and then give your rider a lead out that way.
Yeah, that's right. Sometimes you just get some energy going, some momentum going in the peloton by taking these small attacks. You don't necessarily have the intention of getting away to make it the junction, but you just inject some energy into the chase. This one's definitely going to be a nail biter. It's going to come down to the last meters.
Yes.
We're back on the hill here. I believe they're going to see 1 to go in about 1 kilometer.
Yeah, but the speed of those two, the speed of those two is significantly less than what the field is doing behind them right now. So coming out of the final corner right now and coming right into view. It's Goldman Sachs on the front chasing it down. So we're coming through with 1 lap to go. The catch might be made right after that. They're not caught yet. But the field is hot on them.
So the riders are getting the bell this time. Just about 1 mile to go. 1 more time up the hill. And even though it is an uphill turn, that turn 3 gets really tight when the riders are at speed. This is turn 2 here, getting ready to set up for the long straightaway to the hill.
Yeah, and you see Legion on the front of the field there chasing, so to give Alexa Magner a good run at the finish here.
Yeah, it looks like Laura Rathman doing some work there on the front. You can see the gap there is only a matter of 10 bike lengths or so.
Yeah, behind Laurel, you don't have a group of riders from the same team. It's a bunch of individuals.
Yeah, looks like Emily Ehrlich there in second wheel.
But if you do look at third and fourth wheel, that's where we have some teammates. They're not wearing the same jersey, but we talked about the Schneider sisters. We got Sam right in front of Skylar.
Looks like Rebecca Lang is trying to just give it one last chance here. This is a good move. She's certainly not going to be able to save some energy for a sprint, so she might as well go for it. And what this has allowed is all of her teammates to have more or less a free ride too. So hopefully they're able to capitalize on the energy that she's put out at the front. You can see the riders are wide across the road. That's pretty common when we're on this uphill sprint. Here's turn 3 where it gets a little bit tight.
Oh, we have DNA first and second coming out of that third corner.
Yeah. Looks like we have the lead out going maybe for, I can't tell who the second DNA rider is.
Might be Michaela McPherson. You mentioned that we wouldn't see her till 300 meters to go.
Yeah. This is that long downhill sprint. You've got Emily Ehrlich lurking in third wheel. And then the sprint opens up for Goldman Sachs. Marlise Mejias on the wheel.
Got Paula Munoz leading on the left side, but then
looks like Marlise is at the front there. And it looks
Skylar in second, Alexis in third.
Yeah. Wow, that was quite a finish. Lauren Stevens there in a top 10 position. We'll have those results in just a minute. I see multi-time Paralympian Jennifer Schubel coming across the line for Work Hard, Be Humble.
Yeah, from the angle that we saw, it looks like it was Marlena that was able to win that race. Marlena just ahead of Skylar Schneider, followed by Alexis Magner.
Yeah, unofficially, Marlise Mejia in first for Virginia Blue Ridge. And then we had Skylar Schneider in second for the Blazers and Alexis Magner third.
So we saw lots of efforts being put out there. We've seen people attacking, and then it came back together, and it came back for the sprint that we were counting on for today.
Yeah, that was an exciting finish. You know, a lot of times when there are such strong sprint teams, you just see the field ride together, and you know, we had two of those smaller teams have a good attempt there, and they ended up getting caught with about 400, 500 meters to go.
Yeah, and just we got a confirmation of those results that we thought we'd seen.
Yeah, looks like officially we have Marlise Mejias from Virginia Blue Ridge first, Skylar Schneider from Miami Blazers second, and Alexis Magner third from Legion of Los Angeles.
We're going to cut away from the video right now, and we're going to be back at about 5:30 for our men's race. Yep, we're going to have a replay package, a replay of the series coming through here of the race. So we got the start of the race here coming through. Aggressive riders. We saw Kingdom Elite out there all day today, making the moves, being aggressive. Different teams riding with them, but it was consistent that it was Kingdom Elite out there all day today.
Yeah, I would say the Kingdom Elite was probably the team of the race. It may not show up on the results page necessarily. We haven't seen results past the top three, but they rode a very nice aggressive race. They definitely had an impact on how the other teams raced, and they came, you know, within 200 or 300 meters of contesting the win there.
Yeah, midway sprint today, we had Skylar Schneider wrapping up that sprint competition with the win in that sprint today.
Looks like this is the move that really dictated the last sort of act of the race. Rebecca Lang from Kingdom Elite and Jennifer Wheeler from Fountain Cycling. You know, they went clear with 5 laps to go, and it was really kind of, you know, not apparent how this race was going to wrap up.
Right, they came down to the last lap. They weren't caught with a lap to go, and we saw them giving it their all until the third corner when it all came back together for the field sprint.
I think that they might have benefited from having another rider up there potentially, but that's kind of a double-edged sword, because if it is one of those teams that is, you know, one of the stronger teams, then it might have gotten a reaction from the field a little bit earlier. Yeah. There we see the nice overhead shot of Marlise's finish. Looks like she won by about a bike length and a half.
So the sprinters timed it right again.
That's right, and I think this is the third year in a row that Marlise Mejias has won Giro Della Montagna.
Yeah, last year she won all 4 days of the series. She's got 2 this year, 2 out of the 3. She got third the first day, so she'll be our series leader at this. So right now we're going to the kids race. We'll be back at 5:30 for the men's call.
Cyclist fans, again, we're in front of Piazza Imo. We're down on the legendary hill. This is a must-see if you're down here for this weekend's event. Remember again, it starts Sunday on the hill. So come on in to Piazza Imo. This fountain is truly awesome. The Frisella family, one of the founders of the Piazza. So many Italian families have come together to make this such a great place to reflect, to pray, and we all need that special time. And this is the ultimate place to make it happen. The Riviero family, properly displayed. Via con Dio. What an unbelievable display of affection. As we come down to the left here, something really special to the family, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. This is where we come as the Bommarito family to celebrate the life of Frank Bommarito. A legacy that is never to be forgotten. Beloved husband, father, and grandfather. But check out the quote below. The best thing you can do for someone in life is give them a job. And we are so proud of our 1,000 team members at the Bommarito Automotive Group. And we are so proud of all their families that we can allow them to have a first-class livelihood and working for a group that is so affectionate about their people, because we know that people make the difference. Make sure you check out any Bommarito location. And again, make sure you check out the Piazza and come by and say a special tribute to my dad, our CEO and founder. We love you, Pop. And we'll see you guys at the race.
Jordan Anderson here for Volpe Foods. For 122 years and 4 generations, Volpe's been producing award-winning, handcrafted, artisan-cured meats. Every product is made using passed-down family recipes. No artificial ingredients, 100% natural, and no shortcuts ever. Volpe's great for snacks, subs, and sausage for the grill. Get Volpe for authentic salami and prosciutto products available in supermarkets and convenience stores nationwide. America's premium protein, VolpeFoods.com.
I support the Davis Phinney Foundation because of Lorraine being an ambassador. Feel if I can't support my wife, who else would I support? And she's part of DPF.
Thank you, Jay. I like to support DPF because of its excellent resources. The fact that we help people with Parkinson's live well today, and I think that extends to the persons who live with them, care for them, love them. And I think that especially for 2021, I'm very excited about the ways that we can bring new programs, and so much of it is virtual now, that DPF is really working hard to serve their community.
It's the truly dynamic thing to do. I mean, this is where the action's happening, this is where the good positivity happens, and it's where we can see our efforts really resulting in things.
Yeah, Davis Phinney is the organization that most exemplifies the idea of helping people with Parkinson's live better now, and we're all for that.
Oh, we love the Davis Phinney Foundation. They were like a light in the middle of a long, dark tunnel, because we were sorting out in the first year or so when we first met Davis and Connie and the crew in Boulder, and it was
life-changing.
Life-changing. It was just so much support and hope, and so much information, because we were lost puppies trying to figure out what all was going on. So it was just great.
It's not something you can learn from books. It's like the experience of being with people who have Parkinson's. Everything's just so helpful. And I wouldn't be doing as well as I am if it weren't for Davis Phinney.
I supported the Davis Phinney Foundation for a number of years now, and big reason is it meets the need that's most prevalent to people with Parkinson's. In other words, how do we live better today? So you find out you have Parkinson's, and someday you expect and hope there may be some kind of cure or some kind of action on how to mitigate it. But what do you do in all those years in between? Well, that's when you look to the Davis Phinney Foundation for information on how to live better today, right now, with Parkinson's, and for a long time.
Because it helps people learn to live well, people with Parkinson's, and because it really has a way of not just supporting people with Parkinson's, but also creating a village of support around everybody. And we just love everybody involved, and we love sharing this message with other people.
And the Davis Phinney Foundation has changed our lives since we were diagnosed with Parkinson's. And because of that, we want to help share that same change, positive change, to others.
Every victory counts.
Every victory counts.
Every victory counts.
Every victory counts. Every victory counts.
Servus, ich heiße Florian Kupplend und bin Mitgründer und Braumeister der Urban Chestnut Brewing Company. Unseren ersten Sud brauten wir Anfang 2010 in einer umgebauten historischen Autowerkstatt in St. Louis. Seitdem ist unsere Brauerei auf 4 Standorte angewachsen. 3 in St. Louis und einen in meiner oberbayerischen Heimat. Bei UCBC wenden wir eine einzigartige Brauphilosophie an, die wir Beer Divergency nennen. Es ist eine Kombination von Tradition und Moderne. Wir brauen klassische deutsche, englische, belgische und tschechische Biersorten, aber auch moderne, innovative Craftbiere. Zwickel unfiltriertes Helles, Schnickelfritz Weißbier, Stalipa India Pale Ale, Stammtischpilz, Dorfbier Dunkel, Urban Underdog American Lager und einige andere Biere gehören schon seit Anfang an zu unserem Portfolio. Wir arbeiten aber ständig an neuen Kreationen, die wir dann in regelmäßigen Abständen auf den Markt bringen. Viele dieser Testbiere können Sie unserer Versuchsbrauerei URB schon während ihrer Entwicklung verkosten und uns dazu Ihre Kommentare hinterlassen. Ich hoffe, dass Sie das eine oder andere Urban Chestnut Bier finden werden, das Ihnen schmeckt. Prost!
Hey everybody, it's John Bommarito, and where are we today? We're at St. Louis's #1 choice for all your Audi automotive needs. We're at Bommarito Audi in West County, and we're talking about something super fabulous today, the Gateway Cup. It's a huge cycling event where we team up with Big Shark Bicycle Company. And Big Shark, as you know, is one of the #1 choices for all your cycling needs. You need a bike, you want to go down to Big Shark. You need a car, you want to come to Bommarito. So how does a Gateway Cup work? 4 different neighborhoods, 4 different starts. Lafayette Square on Friday, Francis Park on Saturday, the Fabulous Hill on Sunday, and then we finish up Monday in Florissant. We are at the infamous hill right now. You can see the legendary backdrop of the St. Ambrose Church. Over to my left here is Piazza Imo. This is the 3rd stop on this year's Gateway Cup. Make sure you come by Sunday. We'll be at the Fabulous Hill. There'll be all kinds of awesome restaurants down here. The Italian community welcomes this Gateway Cup. Hundreds of racers from all over the world will be here. Olympians, you name it, everybody's gonna be here. Check out these beautiful vehicles right here. Right behind me, the pace car. Audi R8, fabulous automobile. The chase car, the RSQ8, phenomenal SUV. And then over here, the S5, properly displayed down on the hill this weekend. Big Shark, Bommarito Automotive Group, we're bringing you the Gateway Cup this year, 2024.
You can live well with Parkinson's today.
You can live well with Parkinson's today.
Quality of life matters.
Quality of life matters.
There is so much that you can do.
The Every Victory Counts manual has more information for yourself as a Parkinson's patient, for any care partners, being a parent or a spouse. It's got information for your children. It's got information on how to take the disease step by step. So it's not frightening.
It goes from, basically a Parkinson 101 to review what is Parkinson, what are the symptoms, what causes it, what is the process for diagnosis, through stories about people who live with Parkinson's now. But it also contains very practical tools such as worksheets. If you're going to visit your doctor, here are the questions to ask yourself and to ask the doctor when you have a visit, so that conversation with the doctor is much more productive.
This is the Bible for people with Parkinson's. I mean, it's just an incredible resource. It's so inspirational. That's what people really need to see. It's not, they don't want the downer part of it. They want to be inspired.
There is so much that you can do.
There's so much that you can do.
Every victory counts.
Cyclist fans, again, we're in front of Piazza Emo. We're down on the legendary hill. This is a must-see if you're down here for this weekend's event. Remember again, it starts Sunday on the hill. So come on in to Piazza Emo. This fountain is truly awesome. The Frisella family, one of the founders of the Piazza. So many Italian families have come together to make this such a great place to reflect, to pray, and we all need that special time. And this is the ultimate place to make it happen. The Riviano family, properly displayed. Via con Dio. What an unbelievable display of affection. As we come down to the left here, something really special to the family, the Sacred Heart of Jesus. This is where we come as the Bommarito family to celebrate the life of Frank Bommarito. A legacy that is never to be forgotten. Beloved husband, father, and grandfather. But check out the quote below. The best thing you can do for someone in life is give them a job. And we are so proud of our 1,000 team members at the Bommarito Automotive Group. And we are so proud of all their families that we can allow them to have a first-class livelihood and working for a group that is so affectionate about their people, because we know that people make the difference. Make sure you check out any Bommarito location, and again, make sure you check out the Piazza, and come by and say a special tribute to my dad, our CEO and founder. We love you, Pop, and we'll see you guys at the race.
I'm Santino Ferrucci, driver of the 14 Bommarito Chevrolet with AJ Foyt Racing. The ultimate pre-owned car buying experience is at Bommarito. Explore 13 locations, thousands of certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs with warranties up to 100,000 miles. You'll find the perfect vehicle in every price range, ready right now. Bommarito, Missouri's #1 automotive group, West County, South County, St. Peters, and Hazelwood. Open 24/7 at bommarito.com. Hey, it's Santino Ferrucci, driver of the 14 Bommarito Chevrolet with AJ Foyt Racing. Ready to sell your vehicle? At Bommarito, you're the one calling the shots. Just give us the lowdown on your ride, get an offer, and cash in. No haggling, no hassle, just pure speed. Sell your car today at Bommarito. Swing by any Bommarito location in West County, South County, St. Peters, and Hazelwood, or zoom over to bommarito.com. Open 24/7. See you at the track.
You'll be happy too when you shop your way at Bommarito. In-store or online, new or pre-owned. On every vehicle, ready right now. Even delivered. Bommarito.com. It's okay to dance. We get that every day.
Jordan Anderson here for Volpe, driver number 32 Volpe Chevrolet Camaro. Elevate your next charcuterie board for the big race in Talladega with Volpe, America's premium protein. Look for Volpe products at your local supermarket and convenience store.
You can live well with Parkinson's today.
You can live well with Parkinson's today.
Quality of life matters.
Quality of life matters.
There is so much that you can do.
The Every Victory Counts manual has more information for yourself as a Parkinson's patient, for any care partners, being a parent or a spouse. It's got information for your children. It's got information on how to take the disease step by step. So it's not frightening.
It goes from, basically a Parkinson 101 to a review of what is Parkinson, what are the symptoms, what causes it, what is the process for diagnosis, through stories about people who live with Parkinson's now. But it also contains very practical tools such as worksheets. If you're going to visit your doctor, here are the questions to ask yourself and to ask the doctor when you have a visit, so that conversation with the doctor is much more productive.
This is the Bible for people with Parkinson's. I mean, it's just an incredible resource. It's so inspirational. That's what people really need to see. It's not, they don't want the downer part of it. They want to be inspired.
There is so much that you can do.
There's so much that you can do.
Every victory counts.
I'm Santino Ferrucci, driver of the 14 Bommarito Chevrolet with AJ Foyt Racing, the ultimate.
In front of you, what you are witnessing, 123 riders. Fastest riders from around the nation, a very international field as well, as we are getting ready for the 8th race in the American Criterium Cup. It is day number 3 of our Bommarito Audi West County Gateway Cup, as this is the Giro Della Montagna, presented by Fitz's Root Beer and Bottling Company. Like to be able to start off with our American Crit Cup Giros, and I'm going to do it all together. Please welcome a trio of rainstorm riders: Jordan Parra, Alfredo Rodriguez, and Danny Summerhill. These are your top 3 overall in the ACC, as one team is dominating the top of the ladder. Jordan Parra right there in the red jersey, your winner on day number 1 and day number 2. Danny Summerhill, your winner right, where is Danny? Where is Danny, Thomas? You want to stay there, or do you want to come through? Is this his first picnic? Danny Summerhill currently sitting 3rd overall in the ACC. But this gentleman right here in the green jersey, he won right here in 2022 and 2023. 2-time back-to-back winner here in the Hill, and he's wearing the green jersey as your sprint leader.
You've got the Miami Blazers, national champion of Belize, the 2021 winner at the Giro Della Montagna, Corey Williams.
Corey Williams with that white jersey, your Belize national champion. Rainstorm continuing with the streak. Brian Gomez, guess what? He won here in 2019. This rider coming out of Colombia.
And my man, who I led out for the win in 2018, and I gave him a kiss on the cheek on the podium, Ty Magner with Legion. You remember that kiss, don't you, Ty? It's still on there.
This next rider coming out of Austin, Texas. 2 times 4th place. That puts him in 4th overall in our Gateway Cup leader competition. He rides for the Austin Outlaws. He goes by the Cowboy, Lucas Borgone. Guaranteed, Lucas is sitting in the back of the group, just biding his time. Bring him on up.
And our man in 5th place overall from Roseville, California, Rebo Revelation, Cole Davis. There's Cole.
Rest of the riders to the line, please. Those are just a couple of our highlight riders, but many other riders in this group are champions, and we're going to talk about them throughout the night and throughout the race. I'd like to be able to call up Father Jack to be able to bless this race once again as we're into the final race right here on the hill.
Lord, as we celebrate this beautiful day in St. Louis on the hill, we pray for these bikers. We thank them for being here today, along with their teams. Let them ride fast. Let them ride safe. Amen.
And we have our national anthem sung by one of the Giro natives right here on the hill, born and raised. Yep, Gina Galati, the general operator of Winter Opera St. Louis.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red blare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Big thank you for the national anthem, Gina. Fantastic. Right now, riders, you are getting ready for 70 minutes of racing. Just a few instructions here. 70 minutes of racing. Free laps are over, 5 laps to go. Very, very important. Back by the neutral service pit, the barriers come out. There is a raised sewer cover. Do not come down the hill hugging the barriers on the inside of the course, because you will puncture or it will take your handlebars out. Everybody got that? Stay away from the inside right over there with the neutral service pit, because that manhole cover is up. We want you guys to avoid that. Want everybody to have a safe race as well. 70 minutes, free laps are over with 5. If you're out of contention, you will be pulled. We're going to have our mid-race for the ACC. Afterwards, we will do our podium on the day, and we will do our podium for the American Criterium Cup. End of the instructions, because right now, we have 123 riders that are ready to be able to race the hill. Are you ready for the Pro Men? Let's make some noise as we get ready to launch. The codes are activated. Going on whistle. We have just sent them off. The rocket boosters are lit as our men are underway.
All right, thank you, Frankie and Brad, for doing those call-ups for us. I'm Andrew Fry. I'm here with Ben Sharp. We're here at the start of the men's pro race at the ACC final race, race number 8 of the series.
Super excited to be here, Andrew. We are on the iconic hill in St. Louis, Missouri. It's an Italian-American neighborhood steeped in racing history. I heard this was the 39th edition of this criterium.
Yeah, definitely a long tradition here. It's an Italian neighborhood in St. Louis, Italian cycling sport there. So yeah, it's a good atmosphere. It's fun racing for the riders, fun for the crowds. Looks like we got some early action coming from Corey Williams from the Miami Blazers.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably just testing the legs a little bit. I don't think that he has any intention necessarily of doing a solo breakaway for 70 minutes, but might try and draw out a few riders, maybe get some people to spend some energy early in the race and just see who's willing to stick their nose in the wind a little bit.
Yeah, and if you were here for the women's race earlier, you got to see the action from some drones, from some still cameras, and from the car in front. But an added feature for this men's race is we have a rider helmet, so you can go right live into the middle of the pack. We got Daniel Holloway sitting about 8th wheel right here, right in the action.
Yeah, this is a really exciting view. You get to see a lot more of what's happening in the peloton throughout the race. Daniel's one of the icons of American Criterium racing over the last decade and a half.
One rider has joined Corey.
Yeah, it's definitely a new perspective that we have in U.S. racing from a spectator television view.
And you can just feel the block headwind.
Yeah, people have been reporting.
Even in the draft here.
Corey Williams.
You can just that. Well, the predicted.
Race series has been a rainstorm. Rainstorm has focused on the series of the ACC from day one. They came into the season with that as their main focus, and with that, they have the top 3 men overall right now, and they have the team sprint, or they have the team overall prize, and the men's sprint. So it looks like, rainstorm from the outside, but this is just one race of a series of 8. We have another 120 guys out there who haven't won a race in the series, haven't, been placing up there, but it's just one day. So we can look for action from all these other teams.
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of riders that would be super excited to have a win here today that are not necessarily invested in the ACC as a series. Anyone likes to be first across the finish line, and I hope to see some really dynamic and exciting racing today.
Yeah, and we got some local riders here. It's the Team Mac off the front here with Corey Williams and with one of the Cliff Bar riders.
Yeah, Team Mac's a long-standing amateur program from the Chicago area. Just mixing it up with some of our established professionals here. As you mentioned, this is the 3rd race in the Gateway Cup series that takes place every Labor Day or in St. Louis. It's a 4-day series. We're in day 3. Friday, we had a Twilight Criterium. It's called a Twilight Criterium, but it was just straight up dark criterium in Lafayette, at Lafayette Square. And then yesterday, we were at St. Francis Park, and today we are here in the Hill. Today's course is a little bit different than what we've seen the last couple days. Friday and Saturday, the courses were 4-corner criteriums, much like this one, but with very little elevation gain and big, wide open roads. Today it's a little bit narrower. There's a bit more elevation on the back straight. There's a narrow section after that hill on the back straight. And this might be, an opportunity to see some more aggressive racing be rewarded.
Yeah, we have Robin Carpenter from Legion of LA just going to the front, stretching his legs out, stretching the field out a little bit. I don't think it's what he's doing right now is too much for the riders who will be there at the end, But I think that some of the more local riders, some of the local teams, those riders are on the back, and they're feeling this. They're feeling this effort that he's putting in right now.
Yeah, we saw this in the women's race, that a lot of the more established teams, the bigger teams, are represented near the front, trying to stay out of any sort of trouble with gaps opening or even riders falling near to the back. So you often see, some of this, like I said, some of the stronger teams, stronger riders going to the front and just trying to keep the pace high a little bit to protect their riders and maintain their positions at the front. Looks like we have an attack maybe from a Team Skyline rider being marked by Legion rider. I believe that's Ty Magner following the wheel there. We saw Ty's wife Alexis finish third in the women's race just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we've been talking about families. We had sisters and we had a mother-daughter in the last race. Now we have a husband-wife team going out here. The wife got to race earlier, now her husband's out here.
I think we've got a couple brothers out there too.
But we have brothers that are on opposite teams, though. The Williams brothers were always teammates on Legion of Los Angeles. This year, they've separated, and Corey's riding for the Miami Blazers, and Justin's riding for Legion.
There's a good shot of a rider being thrown back into the race from the wheel pit. He must have had some sort of mechanical or mishap, maybe a puncture. And that's a unique aspect of criterium racing in our country, where if a rider does have any sort of incident that's justifiable, they basically have to be approved by the officials in the wheel pit. The rider can take care of whatever mechanical issue takes place with their bike and be thrown back into the race a lap later without any sort of penalty. And that opportunity is available until about 5 laps to go.
So we still have Ty and the Skyline rider on the front here. They've got a good 10-second gap here. Field looks like it's strung out behind. It looks like a Miami Blazer on the front of the field, stringing it out. Doesn't want to let this group just sneak away early in the race and forget about them and then take it too late and miss out on the finale.
Yeah, I think that, again, Ty, is probably stretching his legs a little bit, just taking an opportunity to see what happens. If he injects some pace into the front of the race, and maybe a few riders will come up to him. Looks like he was riding a little bit stronger than the second rider here, and so now he's going to be on his own, which is maybe not the most desirable position to be in. I would suspect that he's going to put about 80% of his energy into this and just see if maybe he can draw out a couple other riders and get a breakaway going.
Yeah, the start of this race seems like it's been a little bit more aggressive than the women's start of the race. The women were a little bit more calculated, but then later in the race, it was attack after attack. We had some groups off the front. Men's race looks like it's starting off the way the women's race ended. And now here we are with Daniel Holloway sitting about fifth wheel in the field, just watching the action going from his camera there. And if you see that red jersey in front of him, that's a rainstorm rider, but he is our overall leader in the American Criterium Cup. That's Jordan Parra, who's also won the last 2 days here at the Gateway Cup.
Yeah, Jordan's on a tear. He's been pretty unstoppable. The team's done a great job of supporting him over the last 2 days and throughout the series. He's effectively got the ACC championship locked up. Today's going to be about trying to get a rider, first across the line and potentially moving one of his teammates up in the mid-race sprint competition.
Yeah, the Rainstorm team has won 5 of the 7 races of the series that's happened so far. So maybe Jordan will be looking to help some of his teammates who have not won yet. All right, right now we're going to jump in and we're going to listen to Daniel Holloway going through on the field right now.
Tailwind uphill, 54 k an hour.
All right, well, we're having some technical difficulties right now with Daniel's feed, so we'll get back to that later. We'll be able to listen into what he's saying while he's out there racing.
And like I mentioned before, we see Ty Magner there on the front. He's still putting some effort into the pedals, but you know, he is not committed to the finish at this point. He's just trying to maybe draw out some other riders to see if they can establish a breakaway without spending too much energy in case no one does come across. He'll tuck back into the field, I'm sure.
Yeah, with 120 riders, it's taking about 25 seconds for the field to go through the start-finish line at this point. So we see that it's lined out. It's not at Mach speed. It's not, the riders aren't getting dropped, but they are definitely feeling it and strung out during this race.
This is a kind of what I would call a sneaky course. That, you know, it is in the hill neighborhood. It does have a hill on it, but the hill is not, I mean, it's a super fast hill. You're still going up it at 25 miles an hour in the bunch. But over the course of the hour-plus duration of this race, it does start to take its toll on riders. And I would not be at all be surprised if towards the end of the race we start to lose a couple riders off the back. Looks like we have one rider maybe trying to make the junction, coming across from the field, stuck between the field and the rider off the front, Ty Magner from Legion of Los Angeles. And just by his posture, you can tell that Ty's not putting a ton of energy into this. He's basically at endurance pace, just rolling around, hoping to create a little bit of energy or some dynamics into the race.
Draw somebody out to ride with him.
He doesn't want to be so far ahead that he discourages anyone from trying to come across, but I also don't think that he necessarily is ready to go back to the field. And it looked like there might have been 3 or 4 riders coming together between turns 3 and 4 that might be trying to make a bridging effort to get up to Ty. There you go. I see a rainstorm rider there. You mentioned it's about 25 or 30 seconds for the riders to pass through the start-finish line. One lap on this course is just more than 2 minutes. So basically, those riders that, while they're still in contact with the peloton, they're a quarter of a lap down at some points. So moving up on this course is a little bit tricky. It's not the widest course. It does have that elevation. It's hard to pass on the downhill. So those riders at the back are, while they're still at the back, they are experiencing what we call the accordion effect, where they are having to decelerate into the corners because the riders in front of them are decelerating, and then make a hard acceleration out of the corners. And that series of little sprints, you've got 4 per lap, start to take a toll.
Yeah, we see Ty Magner sitting up here. Looks like, instead of somebody trying to come across and an individual or 2 or 3 riders coming across, it was the whole group that was being brought back by the Miami Blazers. When he saw the whole group coming, he decided to give up the effort, knowing that he can jump into the field now and mix it up again later on in the race.
Yeah, I don't think that was a huge effort for Ty. He will, recover, I'm sure, and have some sort of impact on the race further down the road.
Definitely, definitely.
Now things have settled down just a little bit. No riders off the front. We've got full group together.
We see a counterattack coming now from the Legion team. And this time they're drawing a rider out, so it's not just one rider out there by himself, but we got 2 riders. We'll see if 3 or 4 come up there with them, and then we get a group established.
It's always impressive just to see how big this field is.
Yeah, the American Criterium Cup, it's kind of been the standard this year for races throughout the whole season, going from the beginning of June and now we're into September. So it's been the series that a lot of these teams have been following through the whole season. It's bringing the best riders out week after week or every other week, you know, to race with each other.
What have been some of the other stops on the ACC this year?
So it started off with Tulsa, so with Tulsa Tough, and the way that the ACC works is if a race has 4 days, like this week has 4 days, it's only 1 day of those four of each series. So we started off in Tulsa. Day one of Tulsa was the first race of the American Criterium Cup. Then we went to the Tour of America's Dairyland, followed up by Boise, Idaho, Salt Lake City, Indy, Chicago Grit, Littleton, and now here we are at the Gateway Cup.
Looks like the Legion rider is joined by a work hard, be humble rider, and maybe Miami Blazers trying to weld it back together here on the front. Little gap there to the group.
Yeah, and if you see on the back of that, you'll see a green jersey. That green jersey is Danny Summerhill. He is the leader of the sprint competition for the ACC. He's on that Rainstorm team. He's on third place overall in the series, but he hasn't won a race in the series yet. He won this race last year, and so maybe he's looking to be a repeat, you know, get his win for the year in the series and get a repeat from last year.
Yeah, so we have 5 or 6 riders there off the front. Many of the stronger teams represented. We have a Miami Blazers rider. We have, as you mentioned, Danny Summerhill from Rainstorm. We have a Legion of Los Angeles rider, Work Hard, Be Humble rider. So with each of those teams represented, it kind of puts the onus on some of the other teams to potentially take up the chase here.
At this point, it looks like we're not getting a chase in, but we're getting some individuals that are trying to get across to it. If at some point, you can only have so many individuals going across, and then the incentive is taken out of the break to put forth full effort. It brings back, but it is a second Miami Blazer coming across. We have one in there, and we have a second one coming across.
I see a Kingdom Elite rider. Looks like the Miami Blazers rider is, I believe that's Tyler Williams, is motioning to the rider that was coming across not to come across. Now we have Above and Beyond Cancer rider taking a dig here at the front as we go up the hill going into turn 3.
And that might be Ben Oliver from Above and Beyond Cancer. He hasn't been able to do the whole series. He had some visa issues. He's a New Zealand rider, but he is coming on strong. He won the Chicago Grit Series overall. That was part of the American Criterium Cup, but he won the overall of that series. So definitely a strong rider. He's gotten some podiums in the American Criterium Cup this year, but he hasn't won one of them yet.
And he's drawn out 2 other riders. Looks like another Work Hard, Be Humble rider.
And I believe it was Jordan Parra sitting second wheel there.
Okay, yeah.
You get thrown off with that red jersey. Jordan Parra's wearing the red jersey. He's our overall leader for the American Criterium Cup.
Yeah, I'm looking for the Rainstorm jersey, but he's in the red leaders jersey.
Then in front of the field, trying to weld it back together, is a Rockland County development rider. They only have 2 riders in the field today. The 2 riders who've been on the podiums in these series have been doing really well. 2-rider hit squad that's in 4th place overall in the team's standings with just 2 riders.
Again, we see Miami Blazers, looks like at the front of the peloton, welding this back together.
If that Miami Blazers rider is able to get across, then we'll have 4 strong teams represented and a team it would be taking away a team that would be out there chasing the Miami Blazers. So I think the breakaway's probably hoping that they get across. Miami Blazers might not be hoping they are because maybe it's not their best rider, but looks like he's coming back with Rockland. We got Clever Martinez coming across now.
Yeah, I think some alarm bells are going off for Clever, you know, not wanting to miss this move. And, you know, noticeably absent also is Legion of Los Angeles. Looks like the Blazers rider has been caught. We still have these 3 riders out front.
Yeah, Clever's been a consistent rider of the series, placing, you know, between 5th and 10th every race. He's only missed out on one of those places one time this season. So he's been very consistent. He's in 4th place overall. He's the top of the non-rainstorm riders so far in the series.
That's pretty remarkable considering he's on a team of 2. I think that definitely demonstrates his talent.
When I think a lot of those races, he was a team of 1. He didn't have a teammate in.
Even more so.
Yes. All while traveling the world riding UCI track races.
That's right. Doesn't look like any significant gaps forming at the back of the bunch here. Most people are still comfortable. We are only 21 minutes into our race. We do have lap cards now. Looks like we're going to see, we're at 24 to go. We'll see 23 next time. You do see on the downhill that it does get a little bit stretched out, but nothing to worry about just yet. These guys are working on establishing a bit of a gap here.
Yeah, we're 3 laps into it. It hasn't grown too much from the original gap. There's been a couple of different people trying to chase, but they've remained out there with those small chases coming on, keeping the effort in. We got another rider coming out of the wheel pit there. It's a work hard, be humble rider. We got his teammate off the front, and he's coming in out of the pit. Must have had a flat tire and instead out on the course. So first attack of the race, a Mack rider was drawn out into the field off the break. He's sitting in the back of the field now. So he was up there, and he's still in the field. So he's back there recovering. We'll see if we see him again. So we've seen him twice in the race. We've seen him at the front. We've seen him at the back. We'll see how that plays out for him today.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the dynamic of being on one of the smaller teams, an amateur rider racing with some of the pros. You know, you've got to, you miss every shot you don't take. So I think it was good for him to just stick his nose out there and see what it's like at the front, and hopefully he's able to recover and have an impact on the race later.
Yeah, it looks like we got the group of 3, and then there's a split of another 4 riders coming off the front of the field. Clever Martinez again leading that chase from the field there.
To my eye, it seems like the above and beyond cancer rider, Ben Oliver, is most committed to this breakaway, along with the work hard, be humble rider. Doesn't seem, I mean, I think Jordan Parr is probably thinking that he doesn't need to be in this breakaway for the race to be successful for him. He's less committed. He's saving a little bit of energy. He knows that he's demonstrated that he can have success in a field sprint. This is not his only opportunity, and he just wanted to make sure that the team was represented here so they're not in a position where they have to chase. And you can see that he's swinging on the back here, trying to take some recovery while in the breakaway.
Yeah, as one of the best sprinters in the field right there, he might feel his chances actually better in a field sprint than in a group of three where he's going pool for pool with the likes of Ben Oliver.
Yeah, that's right. And it's still a long way to go in this race, nearly an hour to go. So, you know, he's just doing a little bit of protecting of his team right here. And if this break were to stick, it would probably be mostly because of the work that the other two riders are doing. And if it came down to a finish between these three, he's saving some energy knowing that he has a full team waiting in the wings. So it's not the end of the world for him if they get caught.
Yeah, you know, I think I just saw him, he miss out on his first pool. So he's just letting the other two, and the other two are taking those pools. They know the situation too. They know that they have the fastest sprinter in the field with them. But this is a chance. You can get first, you know, a podium spot. They're going to work, they're going to make their efforts and be okay with him not sitting on to a certain extent.
That's right. It looks like Ben Oliver and the Work Hard, Be Humble rider having a little chat there, you know, assessing the situation. Oliver's position, posture on the bike tells me that he's maybe not going full stick right now. He realizes that this might be a doomed situation and might be looking to take a little bit of shelter in the peloton to, you know, refuel, recharge a little bit, and recover from this effort.
Yeah, very similar to what we saw Ty Magner doing earlier in the race. He was by himself, kind of the same thing though. Gap's not going out. Doesn't look like they're going to get away. So
yeah, sometimes the composition of these breakaways isn't just exactly right for it to succeed. And with Jordan Parra sitting on, you know, these guys don't want to tow him away to the finish line.
Right, we got a Ribble rider coming across.
Looks like that's maybe Cole Davis.
Yeah, Cole Davis from Ribble coming across to this group. He's more of a breakaway rider, and he's a road racer. Earlier this year at the Redlands Classic, he won the mountain stage there, and then 2 weeks later, we saw him at Speed Week, you know, off the front, lapping fields and Criterium. So he's a bike racer. He's a strong guy. Probably not going to win it in the sprint, but knows what his limitations are and makes the races hard by being very aggressive throughout the whole race.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he would have bothered to make that junction if he had seen the lack of pace that those riders were putting in. But now we have a complete reset with, I didn't get a good visual, but with a Legion rider off the front solo.
Yeah, I believe it was potentially it's Robin Carpenter.
Oh yeah, it is Robin. Yep.
He's got a unique riding style that you can, you know, recognize him, and he's an aggressive rider. Rides off the front a lot.
Again, this may not be the most ideal situation for an individual rider with, you know, 40 minutes left to go in the race, trying to head out on his own. I don't think it's his intention to ride 21 laps solo. He's looking for a few riders, maybe a Miami Blazers rider, maybe a Rainstorm rider, to come across and join him in the breakaway. In that aerial shot there from our drone, it looks like there are some gaps forming at the back of the race. You can see that there's sort of an arrow shape to the peloton, some riders sitting in comfortably, but at the back, it might be getting a little bit grippy for some riders.
Yeah, maybe some small accelerations off the front here, but it looks like it's just the welding kind of accelerations. There's nobody getting across to it, you know, slowly bringing it back, leaving Robin out there by himself, kind of the same as Ty, his teammate, did earlier. There is an Austin Outlaw rider coming up the left side of the field there. But again, his attack was telegraphed and everybody jumped right onto it, didn't get the gap, and just slowly bringing it back. So we're at the 30-minute point of this race. It's a 70-minute race, so the midway preem sprint will be coming up in the next 2 or 3 laps. It's at the 35-minute point of the race. In our midway sprints, we have Danny Summerhill as the leader. He was consistent from race 1 in the series, so he has won it. But what we have is a rainstorm rider. Brian Gomez is in second. Josh Burnett is not here. So the 4th place rider, Alfredo Rodriguez, might be looking to take this sprint to move up into 3rd place overall. If that was the case, then we'd have Rainstorm in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd overall in the mid-race sprint points.
Yeah, I think that just reflects the dominance that Rainstorm have had in this ACC series. They're doing so well in the team competition, in the individual race competition, as well as in the sprint competition.
But also in the race, though, could be one of the surprise riders. The way that the points race work for the midway sprint points is that it grew. The first week it was 3-2-1. We're up to it's 10, 9, and 8. And sitting kind of heading out here in 5th place is Andrew Dewar from the Cliff Family Drifters. He's only got 6 points, but if he were to take the sprint today, he could move himself up into 2nd place ahead of Brian Gomez, who only has 15 points.
And to be able to log those maximum points, the Drifters riders would need to be able to catch, the field would need to catch Robin Carpenter, the Legion of Los Angeles rider, off the front here.
Yeah, his gap is holding, but we've seen that a couple other times already in this race, and just waiting for something to get established. I don't think that Robin wants to go for 40 minutes, although Robin is a rider who could go for 40 minutes by himself.
You can see that his gap has come down just a little bit. There is some momentum building in the peloton. Maybe some riders wanting to get closer to the front to potentially contest the mid-race sprint. And this is similar to what we saw from Ty Magner at the very beginning. I don't think that Robin is all in at this point. He's probably, working about at 80% of his potential, just hoping, staying close enough that some riders might be incentivized to try to come across.
Right, we do have 2 riders that are coming across now. Once they catch him, he might, he'll up that to 90, 95%, see what he can do in the first 2 or 3 laps of them being together. And then if the gap is established, go full in. We're down to 19 laps to go. Why not give it a go? It's one of the last races of the season.
Looks like there might be a Drifters rider in that group of 2 coming up.
Yeah, he was the 2nd rider in that group of 2 there, was a Drifters rider. We'll see if it's Andrew Dewar, who's maybe looking for that mid-race sprint.
Looks like the group is all back together.
Yeah, those 2 riders who were trying to go across to Robin didn't get across. The rest of the field caught them, and it looked like Robin sat up and looking to recover for these last 18 laps of this race. This is one of the Foundation riders out of New York City attacking off the front here.
can see Rainstorm organizing a little bit on the front. It looked like there were 2 riders coming into turn 3 at the front of the peloton.
Yeah, it looks like they're potentially the Rainstorm riders are setting up for this mid-race sprint because you got the 2 on the front there and sitting about 4 wheels back. Behind them is Danny Summerhill, who's the current leader of that jersey, in the green jersey there.
Yeah, this is the mid-race cream, the mid-race point sprint.
Yep. It looks like we had talked about Alfredo Rodriguez looking to go for that sprint to go over at the top of Josh Burnett, which would give the Rainstorm the top 3. It looks like Alfredo was second in that sprint, which would give him the points to move up into 3rd place overall.
And I think a Kingdom Elite rider might have snuck in there too. We'll get those official results momentarily. You can see the back of the bunch here is all in one thin line. That injection of pace for the sprint does have an effect on the back of the peloton as things get stretched out. Another attack here from Corey Williams.
He was our first attacker of the day. Now he's going out for his second move of the day. Close the gap on that foundation rider who was off the front for the sprint. Doesn't seem like they're getting away yet.
Looks like a Cliff Family Drifters rider trying to come across there. Yeah, now we're basically all back together with a counterattack.
Jumping across that counterattack, it looks like it's Fergus Arthur from the Rainstorm team. He won the Chicago Grit Race in the series. He was off with a group. He was in a group of 2, and won the sprint at the end between him and his co-breakaway rider. Looks like Foundation's team meeting this morning was talking about going into the midpoint of the race and starting their aggressions halfway through the race, because now we got a counterattack coming off the front of the field as another Foundation rider.
Maybe see a little frustration there. I think that's Tyler Williams.
No, it's not Tyler Williams.
Nope.
Another rider from the Blazers. But what kind of frustration do you think he has right now? Is it because the other guys aren't ready to go, or they're not with him in sync, or what are the frustrations that would be going through right now?
I think that when you have an attacking rider like that and they're trying to get off the front, it's a heat of the moment in the race. You kind of feel like people are deliberately trying to bring you back. But the fact of the matter is everyone's racing their own race. Sometimes that frustrated energy is a little bit wasted. But there could be some other dynamics at play that are happening in the bunch that we're not seeing. But for the most part, my hunch is that he put in some energy to try to get off the front, and he might be a little bit annoyed that some other riders are closing that gap. Maybe in his mind, with no real intention for the overall race. He doesn't necessarily see a reason why someone might be doing that.
Right. We see some new dynamics. We got an Austin Outlaws rider out there, Brandon Fury. He was a long time, rider in the circuit and kind of an older guy now maybe more of a mentor on that team, looking out for his sprinter, Lucas Burgoyne, who we've not seen yet. Maybe talk a little bit, Ben, about how, these riders are hiding, but then we see them at the end of the race.
Yeah, my best guess is that we have not really seen the rider that's going to win this race in the shot. I did mention earlier that this can be a really, it can be a high attrition race. So that generally does not favor a sprint type rider. But with the quality of these teams and so many good sprinters in this field, I would guess that a lot of these riders that we're seeing near the front are kind of support riders, making sure the team's represented so they're not in a position where they have to chase a breakaway. And the sprint type riders are sitting back. They are trying to be as efficient, energy efficient in the group by following wheels, staying out of the wind, staying seated, just not overextending themselves in the bunch to try to save as much energy as possible. And then as we get into literally the last 10, 15, 20 seconds of this race, we'll see those guys kind of come out of the front of the field and a potential drag race down the finishing straight.
Yeah, we see Ty Magner off the front now. He was off the front earlier, stretching his legs, looking to see if anybody wanted to come. Now we're getting down into the last 15 laps of the race, stretching his legs again. Is this a time where he's like, okay, this is my effort. People can come with me. I can try to go solo, but this is my effort for the race now.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Legion is necessarily committed to a field sprint today. They're looking maybe to try to cause some separation and have a small group finish. Personally, I like that tactic if you don't have a dominant sprinter necessarily in your team, or maybe your sprinter's not feeling amazing on the day. These riders are communicating with each other all the time with their teammates to find out, they have a plan going into the race, but that plan may change as the race develops and you get a sense of what kind of leg showed up with you that day. So I think that, again, Ty is probably pushing the pace a little bit here to see if he can draw out maybe 3 or 4 other riders to work together to try and establish a gap and then force some of the other teams to take chase.
Yeah, we see Ben Oliver again up on the front there with Clever Martinez on his wheel. That gap didn't go across. It looked like there was a group that might have been splitting off to go across the Ty, but it ended up being just Brian Gomez welding it back together. Now we got a bit of a counterattack, but again, Rainstorm welding them back together.
Yeah, it does seem like Rainstorm are probably riding for a bunch gallop here or maybe some sort of late race move.
Yeah, we got a Blazers rider attacking off the front here, but again, right there, Rainstorm on it.
I did notice, and you can see kind of in the background there, I did notice on the last lap through the downhill that some riders are starting to get gapped off the back. Even though, us weekend warriors feel like we're competitive and fast cyclists, the truth of the matter is these guys are elite athletes, and the pace that's being injected here in the front does take a toll on the back of the race.
Yeah, it's, the hill isn't the hardest hill of criterium racing in the country this year, but you do it time and time and time again. Those efforts going up that hill wear on you. It's been hot out the last couple of days. We were at 100 degrees on Friday. Are you caught up on your water over the weekend? It's in the 90s again yesterday. So the heat's another factor out there. So we talked a little bit earlier in the women's race that 3 laps to go was probably, a good time to start a lead out. In a men's race, are the dynamics a little bit bigger field, more teams represented? Will we see a different tactic, do you think, in this race as opposed to the women's race, or again 3 laps to go for the lead out?
Yeah, I think that that's possible. We do have more teams, and it does seem like a lot of teams are interested in riding for a sprint. So we might see multiple teams represented at the front and take control of the race to orient the factors in their favor for a sprint finish. There are still some teams out there that maybe don't have a sprinter, a designated sprinter that has shown to be competitive at this level that might take some opportunities like we're seeing right now to go off the front with work hard, be humble. So, you know, I think that it's possible that when these teams line up for the sprint, it ends up almost becoming, I'm going to use the word fight. You know, they're not punching necessarily, but it's a real struggle to try to take control of the front of the race. And some of the overeager teams might take control a little bit early, out 5-6 laps to go. And then with 2 or 3 laps to go, some of the more established teams, the more patient teams, the more confident teams might be able to sit back a little bit and make a run for the front of the race to take control and give their sprinter the best opportunity and the easiest ride for a sprint to the finish.
You know, and I like this. I like to see Work Hard, Be Humble doing this, because Work Hard, Be Humble's got an aggressive team. They've been off the front today. But what they also have is a strong sprinter in Cesar Marte. They might not be one of these best lead-out teams, but they're starting the aggressions early. The fewer sprinters left, the more chasing that other teams have to do, open up that opportunity for Cesar Marte to have a clean shot at the finish later on today.
Absolutely. I think that Cesar has demonstrated that he's pretty good at what we would call freelancing the finish. He gets to capitalize on the work that some of the other stronger teams get to do or are doing at the front. And like you said, here we see a Work Hard, Be Humble rider off the front, hoping to cause a little bit of reaction in the bunch to spend some energy.
One rider joined that Work Hard, Be Humble rider up there right now. Let's see what they can do with it. 12 laps to go in the race. It looks like it's a Legion rider. Legion, in the past, we would see them start their lead outs with 12 or even 15 laps to go and just kind of ramp the speed up. It's a different dynamic of team this year. Are they using some different tactics to maybe set up Justin Williams for a sprint, whereas in the past they would have the 5 riders going the whole time? But are they using some different tactics this year to win the races?
Yeah, I think it's hard to say. I mean, they could be using the same tactic that we mentioned with Work Hard, Be Humble, and they're just trying to force some of the other sprint teams' hands where they might have to burn up a couple of their lead-out riders to chase down one of the kind of worker riders on Legion.
Yeah, I see Robin Carpenter was the rider who came across from Legion. He just flicked his elbow. That Work Hard, Be Humble rider wasn't able or didn't come through. So we'll see how this works out in the next lap or so.
I'm sure that both of these riders are hoping that a couple more riders make the junction and contribute to the progress of the breakaway.
Yeah, we were talking at the end of that women's race about, you know, maybe 1 or 2 more riders, had there been 1 or 2 more with them just to help pull at the end there. It would have made that last lap, you know, a little bit closer maybe.
Looks like the Work Hard, Be Humble rider dropped his chain there coming out of turn 4. He's fortunate to be able to get back to the wheel here. Oh, no, maybe his...
No, I think his cleat maybe. Not
I think his derailleur went into crash mode with the chain drop. That's
okay.
Unfortunate.
But behind that, we have Corey Williams coming across with one of the Rainstorm riders.
And another Drifters rider and another Work Hard, Be Humble rider. I got to hats off to those guys for riding an aggressive race today.
I guess that's in their name, Work Hard and Be Humble.
That's right. I'm suspicious that the Work Hard, Be Humble rider's derailleur is working. Yeah, this does not bode well for him.
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, man.
Well, yeah, we'll see if he's not even able to tack onto these other 2 riders as they come across past him. It does look like the Austin Outlaws are a bit concerned about this. 3 riders going up the road and sending somebody to the front of the field to try to weld it back together for Lucas Burgoyne.
I think I see the daunting shadow of Corey Williams again.
Yeah, you know, in the past, we were just talking about, he was on the Legion team last year, was on that team that was just take it from 10 laps to go. Looks like he's doing a new tactic for himself, like being very aggressive. We've seen him 3 or 4 times out there today. you know, making the race more aggressive, not just waiting for a field sprint, which he is definitely more than capable of, you know, winning from.
This might be a little bit of a frustrating moment for Robin here. You know, again, I don't think that he has any intention of going solo, although he's definitely putting the power down and taunting some people to make the junction.
Yeah, his breakaway partner with him had a bike mechanical, and then those two that were coming across didn't make it across. It just leaves him out there alone. We're, you know, in the last quarter of the race. It's at that point, it's like, when do you sit up to recover, or when are you past that point where you can't recover and you just got to put it all in there for the finish?
There's a lot of freewheeling going on at the front of the bunch. You could see as they exited turn 4 there that the riders started to freewheel and spread out across the road, you know, kind of looking across the road to see if anyone else was willing to take up chase, and it didn't seem like at that moment anyone was really excited to put some power down. So Rob, I would expect that Carpenter's lead will extend a little bit on this half lap.
For sure. But Robin's the kind of rider, though, you don't want to let the gap exceed, you know, get any bigger while he's out there. He's done this all over the world. He's won races in Europe by breaking away at the end.
Absolutely. He's a very strong rider. He has a full war chest of tools to bring to a race like this.
Yeah, we're looking at one of our other cameras, and we see the work hard, be humble rider is in the wheel pit. It looks like they're trying to get his derailleur back on. If he's given a free lap, he should be put back in with Robin, because you go back in where you came out. So we'll see if they throw him in with Robin, or if they'll say, oh, he fell off the back of Robin, you're going back into the field. But he is definitely going to be going back into the field here on this next lap. So, yeah, we do have a camera in the pit right now that's showing this rider going in.
On that last shot, you can see again that the field was spread out all the way across the road coming up the hill. That's a good indication that there's not a lot of pace at the front of the race, and some of these teams, at least at that moment, were willing to let Robin, you know, sometimes you think of him as just kind of letting him kind of die out there and spend a bunch of energy. Again, he's not trying to do this solo unless he absolutely has to and his hand is forced. Looks like one rider may be trying to come across, followed by two. They've got a little bit of a gap. I think it'll be really hard for someone to bridge across, but we'll see how that goes. Oh.
Right, and we can see the pit shot there. We got the work hard, be humble riders going back into the field. He was not given the ride with Robin Carpenter, even though he was with him. He had fallen off the back, I guess, and the officials are placing him in the field.
That's some bad luck.
Actually, we decided they did not place the work hard, humble rider back in. So maybe he will be placed with Robin in the next lap.
Looks like that rider is rider 117, Preston I. We've got to give him a shout out for sure for making the break with Robin and experiencing a mechanical and hopefully getting back in.
In the meantime, Robin is still out there. We're down to 9 laps to go. He's definitely in the commit mode at this point.
Yeah, he's certainly committed to the line. This isn't probably what his game plan was when he went on this attack, but seeing that no one has made the junction with him, he's taking this opportunity, the real estate he's been given, and he's going to try to extend that as much as he can to try and get to the finish solo.
Right, and then if Preston by chance gets pushed back in with him, if Preston gets pushed back in there with him, it's just another set of wheels to help him.
Earlier you asked me if it was advantageous to take a free lap in a race, and generally speaking I would say not, but in this particular case, you know, I would guess that Preston was on the limit when he was with Robin and suffered that mechanical, and he's now had the opportunity to get a little bit of rest and recovery for the 2 laps that he's been sitting out and dealing with his mechanical issue. And it would be my expectation that he would get thrown in here with Robin momentarily.
Yeah, and to be fair to Preston, we don't know that he was struggling. Maybe it was his bike all along, and it wasn't him struggling with him. So.
And again, it doesn't look like
no,
they're throwing
he didn't
him
know.
in.
So it looks like Preston will be going into the field. So If Robin wants to stay away, he's got 8 laps to go, coming through right now. And on the front of the field, we got our sprint leader, Danny Summerhill's leading the Rainstorm team, and there we go. Preston Ivy thrown back into the back of the field.
It's not my position to criticize the officials. I guess I need to study up on my USA Cycling rules a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know that if you're a if Robin Carpenter were to crash right now and have to take a free lap, he goes back to the field because there's nobody to mark his gap for him. But because Robin was there, I would have thought that Preston would have gone back with him because that's where he came out.
Yeah, it could be potentially that when Preston came into the wheel pit, you know, where he was in the field marked his spot, unfortunately, because as we saw on the coverage, he was in the breakaway and suffered that mechanical on the backside of the course and lost a lot of ground because of the mechanical.
Yeah, so it looks like Rainstorm's going to slowly start to bring up the speed and start to chase it down. Maybe we'll start with I wouldn't say a lead out for 8 laps, but just a slowly increase in speed to bring Robin back. You don't want to bring Robin back too early and then have somebody counterattack, then you have to chase again. So maybe they're just timing it right, that it's a bit of a lead out and a bit of bringing Robin back at the same time.
Yeah, the danger here is catching a rider too soon, because that's what, you know, that creates a situation that we call resetting the race. And it, you know, people are hesitant maybe to go on the attack when there's another rider out there and there's a chase already in place. And so, you know, a well-oiled machine, a communicative team will make the decision to slowly bring this back rather than bring it back all at once. Of course, as soon as I say that, looks like we have a couple small groups that have got a little bit of a gap on the peloton. So we'll see what develops here.
Yeah, it looks like a work hard, be humble rider saw that Preston get back in the group, so now he's at the front chasing with a Rainstorm rider on his wheel, and we had 2 or 3 more riders behind him. And it doesn't look like the field is chasing too hard behind that either.
No, you can see again that the riders are from curb to curb. That generally means that there's not a lot of pace right now. Even Daniel Holloway on the front, our man on the street.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties in his camera. It wasn't working. We had it for a little bit in the early parts of the race, but it would be great to see what it's like coming down into these last 3 laps. He puts himself in the position to watch. We'd have front eye view of the lead out.
You can see that Robin is starting to suffer here a little bit. He is definitely giving it everything that he can to get a good finish here. It looks like he's even directing traffic to make sure no one comes out on the road.
Yeah, you know, I was wondering if he had a team manager on the side of the road, and he was motioning to his team manager, like to tell his teammates, like, hey, I got this, slow it down. But no, it was traffic control. He's a man of many talents.
I think it's also a good demonstration of just his awareness of what's going on around him. You know, while he is singularly focused on putting power to the pedals, he sees what's happening on the course.
Right, and it's not even just protecting; it's looking out for his fellow racers who are coming up behind him. You know, that car could have seen him, and then thought everybody was through, and I can jump out there now. But no, he kept it safe for his riders behind him too. 10 to 15 years as a pro, I guess you see all that kind of stuff on the road.
So he's going to see 6 to go. He's on the finishing straight here, just starting the downhill. Be interesting to see in the background here what's developing. Looks like we have 4 riders with a small gap on the peloton.
Yeah, and it's a work hard, be humble, and a rainstorm, and maybe in a Miami Blazers. I can't tell what the 4th rider is there.
Oh, that's a good look.
I believe it's a Parks Law Firm rider. It's the 4th rider in that group there. Again, the field is 8-10 wide coming through that with that group of 4 going across. Robin's still got a good 10 seconds on them, but they have 10 seconds on the field right now. So at this point in the race, we've got 6 laps to go. We've got a Rainstorm rider and a group of 4. Rainstorm's been known to get 2 or 3 riders on a podium in these races. Are they comfortable with one rider sprinting with potentially 5 or 4 other riders, or do they, start to chase it down even though they have a rider off the front?
I think this is mostly a move of opportunity for Rainstorm. I don't think that the Rainstorm rider is going to be a huge contributor to this move. You do see him taking some pace on the front, but my guess is that once he joins, or once his group joins with Robin, that you won't see him doing a lot of the pacemaking, and will try to kind of burn through his breakaway companions and potentially take the win from the break. Or if the pace comes out of the breakaway, the Rainstorm team will line out on the front to try to set up their sprinter riders for the finish.
Right, and it looks like Robin's taking the opportunity. He knew he was going to get caught by those guys. He took a little rest here, but now that's his chance. He's been off solo for 5 laps. He's with this group now. He's going to put it back in there, but he took that little rest. There was no reason to hold those guys off for another lap and waste energy doing that. So he's back with this group now, but will be able to contribute to it.
Yeah, I think that was a decision, a wise decision. Often discretion is the better part of valor. He was going to be caught eventually, so he might as well take a little bit of recovery, get caught on kind of his own terms, take a little drink of water, and be ready to contribute to this group of 5.
Yeah, and I noticed it was Johnny Clark from the Blazers up there, one of the hard men of racing. He's been around for a long time, just can sit on the front all day. But then I noticed behind that, like you said, once that group of 4 or 5 came together, Rainstorm is now on the front of the field, putting forth a lot of effort coming into 4 laps to go.
Yeah, I don't think the team plan was necessarily to get into a breakaway. But you see, again, Robin Carpenter injecting some pace there, trying to draw out the guys that are committed to the line. He sees that the Rainstorm rider is not necessarily going to contribute to the success of the breakaway, and maybe trying to split the group and bring someone like Johnny Clark along.
Yeah, and that Rainstorm rider is Fergus Arthur, who has won one of the series. He won the Chicago Grit race in the ACC series. He knows what his limitations are. He knows that he can sit on, and he's obligated to win. If he sits in on this break and his team doesn't chase him down, he's obligated to win this race.
That will 100% be the expectation.
Yes.
Because you do have arguably the best sprinter, this season on your team, waiting, with bated breath for this sprint finish.
Yeah, and it does look like they're fully committed, because we have Danny Summerhill on the front of the field in the green sprinter's jersey leading it out. And it seems like we see a counterattack, a little bit of stop and momentum. I think that's just going to cost the breakaway any chance of staying away in this race.
Yeah, all those accelerations and decelerations ultimately slow the progress of the group.
Yeah, and the Park Law Office rider had gotten dropped off, but with that deceleration, he was able to come back on. But Rainstorm has definitely had to put forth a little bit of effort. Maybe one of their lead-out guys has been used up to chase down this group. So then we're looking at, we have Fergus off the front. One of their guys is already being used up. So then we only have 4 other riders left to do the raid-out for these last 4 laps. And I saw Ben Oliver getting up there looking to be aggressive. I saw Lurkus Burgoyne. It wasn't a concerted effort by any one team yet on the front, but definitely the powerful individuals were up there.
This is where this course starts to really get heavy. We're over an hour in. We're on the hill, and this is where your fitness really gets demonstrated. Who's fit, who's not, and who's eager for this finish. I think that as we get into these closing laps, as teams start to take the front, bring the pace up for a sprint finish, you're going to see a lot of riders tailed off the back, and you might even see small groups coming in to the finish together.
Yeah, we have Johnny Clark on the front here with the Work Hard, Be Humble rider. Doesn't look like they're going full go, but I'm not out there riding right now.
No, full go is a different definition, 65 minutes in versus 1 minute in. But I agree with you. I don't think that either of these riders are fully committed to this finish. I think the Work Hard, Be Humble rider is happy to be here and wants to keep the momentum going and really take his shot. But these other riders that have teammates that are proven to be able to have success at this level in a sprint, they're thinking more about a group finish.
Yeah, and it actually looks like Preston I coming across to his teammate that's off the front there.
That's an impressive ride.
Yeah, he was our rider that was in the pit, off the front, then in the pit. Now it looks like he's coming back up to the front again. Coming through with 3 laps to go. You see these gaps starting to open up. It's going, there's not going to be another law in the field, in the speed in the field. So these guys are riding, and they'll finish the race today, but there's not going to be another chance for them to get back up to the front today. And now we have a Miami Blazer and 2 Work Hard, Be Humble riders off the front.
I would think that the 2 Work Hard, Be Humble riders would be fully committed to this move. And you can see that, again, the rider that was in the original break here, he's going full stick.
Yeah, it looks like, it's definitely causing a reaction in the field. The field is strung out. There's little gaps starting to open in the front of the field there. I'm not saying that those guys that are gapping off the front of the field are going to be the ones who are going to get away, but it's going to open up gaps. And sprinters are going to be chasing through these little gaps.
See some riders being pulled. One of the officials' jobs is just to make sure that the course is safe and want to make sure that riders get as full distance as they can, but without compromising the front of the race. So once they are under threat of being lapped, they'll be scored but pulled from the race.
Yeah, and it looks like what we have here is one of the Work Hard, Be Humble riders is fully committed to giving his teammate as best of chance as he can for the race. He's asking Johnny Clark to come through. Johnny Clark's with 2 teammates. He's saying, I don't need to pull. You guys have 2 together. At some point, if Johnny wants to win this race, he's going to have to help take a pull, though. Coming through with 2 laps to go.
And you can see the other rider, Preston, coming through again. This is kind of a dream scenario for a smaller team like this. The field has gone wide, again, curb to curb, indicating that there's not a lot of speed in the group. No one is taking the initiative at this point with 2 to go. And one of the smaller developing teams here, Work Hard, Be Humble, has 2 of their riders represented at the front of the race. This is a great scenario for them.
Right, we had some teams that were starting to get together. We saw Blazers on one side of the field. We saw Austin Outlaws on another side of the field, but none of them had it going where they were stringing it out. It was still all the way across the road. I think when we get another view of the field, we will see them start to string out, but we're only at a lap and a half to go right now and a 10-second gap.
Wow, this is something. We've got a lap and a half to go. 3 riders off the front, one of them not especially committed to the move, 2 of them fully committed to the move, and a charging field that is alternately committed and not committed to catching these guys. I feel like there's a little cat and mouse going on between some of the bigger teams, maybe Legion, the Blazers, Outlaws, and some of the other teams, trying to see who's willing to burn some riders to catch this small group off the front.
Yeah, I think I would like to. I would think that we would see either one of the Work Hard, Be Humble riders or Johnny Clark attacking right now and just going for that 1 lap to go and see if they can hold off the field. Because at some point, the riders taking the pools just don't have the energy left. He's been on the front for 2 laps right now. So at some point, you have to put forth the effort and try to go solo.
So we're at 1 to go, charging field again. 3 riders off the front with a tenuous gap of about 10 or 12 seconds. The field is kind of splintering a little bit. There's still a lot of riders there, but only 10 or 15 in any sort of contention at this point.
And you know, we said that the field wasn't going hard, but if you look to the side there, you saw riders peeling off. You saw Rainstorm riders, you saw Legion riders pulling off. They're not pulling off because they're just done for the, they're done for the day because they've made their effort. You know, they wouldn't be pulling off if they hadn't made an effort prior to that.
That's right. We have not been able to see the front of the peloton much to know exactly who's doing the work, but obviously there have been some riders. And here we go.
Here we go.
The Work Hard, Be Humble rider, per your cue, attacking with Johnny Clark on his wheel.
And I would anticipate Johnny Clark attacking into the last corner. If he can get on his wheel, I anticipate him attacking into the last corner, and then it'll be a drag race from the last corner between Johnny Clark and the Rainstorm team chasing.
I think he's got a gap there. So now Rainstorm's on the front. The Work Hard, Be Humble rider has dropped Johnny Clark from
Blazers.
Miami Blazers, thank you.
Yeah.
Here we are at turn 3. This rider has about 600 meters to go, most of it downhill. Big acceleration here.
And this is a course, once you get through that, it's funny because you lead it out if you're in a field sprint, but you don't want to be 3 seconds off the front of the field.
That's right.
With the field chasing you down.
The field will carry a lot more speed down this hill.
Right.
I'm not saying he's going to be caught, but it's going to be really close.
You know,
what a fantastic
he's through the corner.
ride.
He's through that final corner. We got Danny Summerhill leading out the chase for Jordan Parvin.
He is fully committed. Looks like he's going to seal the deal.
Pit. Yeah, he held him off. He's going to hold him off for the finish there.
And that looks like that's Juan Esteban Arengo Carjaval.
Was able to hold off the charging field.
If I'm not mistaken, he's a very prolific track rider.
That was an exciting race. Preston I coming across, putting forth those 3 laps of effort.
We kind of talked about it all day, you know, the solo riders needing some help and other riders to come up. Little did we expect that the Work Hard, Be Humble rider would have his own teammate come up and drive the pace and drag the small group away from the field. What an amazing ride from one of the smaller teams, one of the less well-known teams in the bunch.
Yeah, they're definitely less well-known, but they've gotten a lot of wins this year. They sneak up. I was talking at the beginning of the race about Cesar Marte winning these races. They just won it in a different fashion. We're going to be able to go to a little replay of the day here, so we'll cut over to that.
So we had a field of 130 riders, 129 riders on the start list for the day. The first attack was from Corey Williams.
And then following that up, we had Ty Magner, who spent about 10 laps off the front, not fully committed. You know, nobody came across to him, so he was saving some energy throughout the race. Even you see him sitting up there, just waiting for the field to come.
I think he was hoping to be joined by some other riders there.
Similar situation where we saw Tyler Williams on the front there, just wondering what's happening. We had 10 guys, not all of them wanted to work. Then we have Work Hard, Be Humble coming to the front there. They were aggressive the entire day.
Yeah, you could see that they were represented frequently in the moves off the front.
Yeah, we had Preston I, who was off the front with from Work Hard, Be Humble. He was off the front with Robin Carpenter for that long break. Robin sat up, and our winner goes across and with Johnny Clark.
Here we see Preston I from Work Hard, Be Humble's mechanical issue. I think he dropped his chain and then his derailleur went into sort of a crash protection mode. And amazingly, he was thrown back into the group and then later made a bridging effort to his teammate and Johnny Clark. And I think that his joining the group right here was instrumental in the success of this breakaway. He was able to take a couple of those pulls on the front when the pace had come out of the group, out of the break, to make sure that it maintained its momentum here.
Yeah, we didn't have I think that the Rainstorm, who's been in there all year, had to burned some riders off early, so we didn't have a concerted lead out going into the final lap. And there we see Juan Esteban winning the race, followed up by Lucas Burgoyne in second place, Alfredo Rodriguez from Rainstorm in third, and Clever Martinez in fourth, and Jordan Parra in fifth.
So maybe not the result that Rainstorm was necessarily looking for, but they were in a pretty unique situation today with leading both the American Criterium Cup and the Gateway Cup.
Right, and it was one of those, the smaller teams. We talked about, you know, Rainstorm was in there all season long. They were winning the races, but that's why we have the races, and we give opportunities to other riders to race aggressively and earn the win during that race today.
I would say that.
Okay, we're going to go over to the stage and listen to maybe an interview with our winner.
We're going to be doing our podium here shortly. ACC and Gateway Cup combined.
Riders right now in their cool-down lap making their way around, waiting for our leader, our winner, Juan Arango to be able to make their way down. In the meantime, we're going to be doing our podium, top three for the ACC, top three on the day, as we're going to celebrate the finish of our American Criterium Cup after 8 races. Give it up, Juan Arango, your winner. Big celebration right here in the middle of the street. The owner of the team, JP Prim, celebrating. Rider coming out of Colombia, number 1 on the day. Juan, you got into the breakaway a couple times during the day, but at the end, what made the difference for you to be able to win this bike race?
At the end, the difference was my teammate. Where is my teammate? Preston. Preston helped me a lot the last lap, and I take a breath and later attack Johnny, and yeah, we win.
Big, big win. What does it mean for you to win the final race of the ACC and to be able to win one of the races here at Gateway Cup? What does that mean for you and your team?
Oh, for my team is the best. Win a race here in the U.S. is the big goals of each team and each cyclist, and I'm very happy for that. And for my team, and yeah, to win here in Gateway Cup.
He's a winner here at Gateway Cup. Juan Arango, your 2024 winner. So we're going to start with our top 3 women on the day and then our men on the day. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could draw your attention to our podium. It is now time for our pro women on the day. This was day number 3, the Giro Della Montagna. Like to be able to start off with our women, bringing up in 3rd place, Legion of Los Angeles, Alexis Magner. Third place in a bronze medal for Alexis Magner, coming out of Athens, Georgia. Second place, riding for the Miami Blazers, coming from Wisconsin, Skylar Schneider. And your winner on the day, racing for Virginia Blue Ridge 2024. Please welcome Marlies Mejias, a 3-time winner of the hill. Arms in the air as we celebrate your 2024 champions. Once again, Mejias, Schneider, and Magner. Skylar. Mark, that's what we don't know. I didn't figure it out. Who? Marlies Mejias, come on back up. We're going to be able to give you the new overall Omnium Leaders jersey. Pulling on the jersey, brought to you by Moo Cycling Apparel. Marlies Mejias, your leader after day number 3.
3-time champion at Giro Della Montagna. We're going to go straight into the pro men. It was an aggressive day, and coming in 3rd, Rainstorm, Alfredo Rodriguez. Alfredo. There he is. And after hanging out the back, making his way to the front, winning the field sprint, Austin Outlaws, Lucas Bourgogne. And with a, there we go, zip that up. Zip it all the way, show off the team. A huge team effort. Work hard, be humble. World's medalist Juan Ongo. Juan Esteban knows his way to the podium. A fast man representing work hard, be humble. The Colombian speedster. Juan Esteban is your champion. And by taking 3rd, we have a new Omnium leader with Rainstorm Alfredo Rodriguez come back to the top step. Get that Moo Leaders jersey. Trading it with his teammate on day 3. A huge team effort. What a day of racing in the men's and women's field. Alfredo, raise your hands high. Your new leader of the Gateway Cup. What a day. We'll be out there on a new course. Tour de Florissant Park, presented by Big Shark Bicycle Company, Mike Weiss and crew. We want to thank you for coming out today, making the Giro Montagna one of my favorites. So once again, Giro Della Montagna is complete. We are going to start the ACC podium here in just a second.
Riders are about 3 minutes out. 3 minutes out until we start our American Criterium Cup podium. Just finally tallying the final results as we get ready to do our top three.
We're going to light up Florissant Park tomorrow, or yeah. Not fluorescent. We'll take some fluorescent bulbs, light it up if we have to, but fluorescent. Riders, stay close. We're going to do the ACC podium soon.
Guys, for coming out and listening to us, watching the final race of the ACC stage today in the Gateway Cup. Ben, we had some interesting racing today. We thought that we'd come down to 2 field sprints or didn't maybe some aggressive riding, breakaway, but what we did come up with today was, some good racing out there today.
Yeah, I'd say that neither race was decided until the last moments, and not just who was going to win, but how it was going to play out. We saw kind of similar finales without a similar finish. We had 2 riders off the front get caught in the closing lap of the women's race, and it did come down to a bunch sprint with Marlise Mejias of Virginia Blue Ridge taking the win. And then in the men's race, very similar situation. We had 3 riders off the front, 2 teammates from Work Hard, Be Humble, and Johnny Clark from Miami Blazers. Come down to, a last moment move by Juan Esteban Arango to take the win in the closing 400 meters. It was really a nail-biting finish, and I think reflective of just how dynamic bike racing can be at this level. When we're doing criteriums here for the ACC, we did wrap up the ACC today with several, with the teams and the individuals winning their respective categories. And we still have another fun day of racing tomorrow in Florissant here for the Gateway Cup.
Yeah, it was a great day out there, and I want to thank everybody for joining us watching this afternoon. I'm Andrew Fry with Ben Sharp. We're calling it off for the day.
Thanks, guys.
So